Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. David D. King, your next Lieutenant Governor. And I want to say hi to each and every one of you guys out there today. I am excited about this show today. We're going to have an awesome time on tonight. And we got some guests that's coming on, and we got some guests that's going to be joining, and we got some guests that we don't even know yet, but might be coming on because I'm excited about what's getting ready to happen. So let me just go on by saying to each and every one of you, welcome, and let us bring our guests here. Amen. And I got one of the I call most dangerous females in the state of Wisconsin. You definitely don't want to get on their bad side because they will chew you up and spit you out. So we're going to bring them up on this with me tonight. Hello, ladies. How are you?
I'm feeling a bit Amazonian right now.
Yeah, and so we see we got Stacy with us already.
Hi, Stacy.
Hello,
hi, Stacy.
And Brian.
Stacy and Brian. Okay. So we're going to start. When I put your full picture on the screen, you just say, we got a rock star. He's here, you guys. We got a rock star. He's here. And I'm not putting him on the screen until these two ladies introduce themselves, and then I will bring him on because I'm excited about this young man right here. So we're going to start. Y'all know, I don't never tell y'all who's going first. I'm just going to put your face up, and then you introduce yourself.
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Adrienne Melby. I live in Burlington, Wisconsin. I have 4 kids. My husband is running for school board. And I'm ready to fight for Wisconsin.
All right.
Hi, I'm Sarah Peliquin. I'm a wife and mother of 5 children and a menagerie of animals. We homeschool, and we've been doing that since our oldest was, since she was born. So I love my Constitution, and I love my country, and I will give it over to the anti-American people over my dead body. So
yes.
All right. So somebody put this up. So they put it up, Adrienne, while you was talking. So I wonder if they're talking about who you want to run for governor. You want her to run for governor, or who you want for governor? Just tell us on that one. But speaking of running, I have the honor to bring this person up on the stage. I'm gonna sound like the boxing now. This gentleman is coming in. Oh,
heavyweight.
Okay, he's one of the most heavyweight champions of the world, and the reason he's a heavyweight champion because in his corner he has the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost on his side. And I am excited about this gentleman. He is going to be the next state representative, and I'm not going to say which district. I'm just going to pop him in, and he's going to say it himself. Bye, y'all. There he is.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for that lovely introduction, sir. Way to set the bar high. My name is Adam Steen, and I am running for the 63rd Assembly District to replace the Speaker of the House.
Woo!
We just announced last night, and we have started off to a great, amazing start. You should see the support pouring in. My phone is full of text messages and emails, and I'm still trying to get them all replied to. So be patient with me. But it's been a fun ride so far, and it's just started. So thanks a lot. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. So you guys, we're gonna start this off on. Oh, okay. I know they saying me. Okay, I should run for governor. All right. But I got to tell that story since everybody's saying this, and you guys, I've been hearing this all over the state, but I got to stay in the lieutenant governor race because I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of character. I'm a man of integrity. I don't mind a fight. I love fights. But I was at an event. It was one of the Wisconsin Revival Rallies event, and I'm in the back right before it starts. And Adam pulls me to the side, says, I got to ask you something. And I said, okay. He was like, why are you not running for governor? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I started to speak. And while I was speaking, this woman just screamed out, why are you not running for governor? And Adam looks at, told you. So I just wanted to say that. So let's get the party started, because we know we don't have Adam long, because he got a lot of work to do. And Adam is one of the most humble men I ever met in my life. And he doesn't mind helping anybody in the fight. He will go anywhere and help anybody that's fighting for our freedom. And I'm so grateful to say that he's not only a friend of mine, but he's one of my brothers in the Lord. And I am grateful for him, and he has my full support. I only endorse candidates that's not in the statewide races. That's our local races. Only a ding dong will endorse a statewide candidate right now while the primary going on. But and we're going to talk about that too today. But anyway, I do endorse Adam, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Not because he's on my show. Adam is a type of person that will go beyond. He go past the mile. He go beyond the mile to help. And my wife was running for county supervisor. It was cold that day, and we had to do doors. And ding dong. Oh, look.
Hi, Sarah.
So,
Hi, Sarah.
So it was really, really cold, and two ladies came to help me do doors, and my wife do doors. Adam wanted to help so bad, but he couldn't really help because he had his daughter with him. He was doing daddy duty. So what did he do? He packed his daughter up, got her a nice blanket, and wrapped her up in the car, and he came out anyway. And as we was doing doors, he would pick up the people and take them to the next spot, and come back and get the other ones who was finishing another side and taking them to the next spot. I mean, he stayed out there, even though he was doing daddy duty. He felt, I got to do something to help. And I didn't call him and say, can you come? He just came. And that shows me his character. And I love anybody that walking in integrity and in character. So with that said, let me get the announcements out of the way, because I done got hyped, because I get excited about stuff like this. and I'm drinking coffee tonight. So tomorrow night I'll be at Hot Government, and that's in Racine. At, help me if I say it wrong. It's D-Mark's restaurant, right?
Yep, it's a bar.
The bar restaurant. And I will be there speaking tomorrow night. So if anybody in the Racine area or close to the Racine area, come on out. But on Thursday night, I will be in Manitowoc at the Holiday Inn. It's going to be an educational event. It's going to be so awesome. There was a doctor I spoke on stage with in 2020 in Whitelaw, Wisconsin. Now, me, a black man in Whitelaw. But anyway, I was in Whitelaw, Wisconsin, and this doctor spoke, and he's going to speak again on this Thursday. And I will be speaking on mentors and servanthood. This is what's missing in America today. So it's going to be a very, very good event. So if you're in the Manitowoc area, you want to come out at the Holiday Inn, it's no charge to get into the event. It's going to be, and the event is hosted by Manitowoc Tea Party Group, the Tea Party Group. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
That's where I'll be. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not doing anything. It's Daddy Day. I'm spending time with my daughter and my family, because next week I'm running, and then I'll be in North Carolina for the Full Gospel Businessman Fellowship Men Retreat, where I'll be preaching all 3 nights. So yes, so it's very busy for me. I'm going to take my my time with my children on this weekend. So if I miss a caucus or anything, I'll get y'all on the next round because I am your next lieutenant governor. With all of that being said, now let's talk about deception first. That's what I want to talk about first. Deception. I ain't going to start the conversation. I ain't going to allow someone who's very passionate about liars, deception, and I'm going to let her have the flow first. You want me to give you the signal? Okay. Bam. There you go.
So what would you like me to speak to exactly?
Well, let's see. Let's start with, since Adam is on here, let's start with Adam's event, you know. And the reason I want to go there is because I didn't like what went down. I didn't like it because of the deception. And what I mean by that is we had an individual that came to the event. All right. Wait a minute. I know he was. Wait. Oh, somebody said, I know he was talking about you. so here's the thing, what I'm talking about. So we had an individual came to Adam event. I told Adam, at first I was talking to Adam at his event, and I was getting ready to go to my car and get some of my cards and pass out. And then I said, Adam, no, this is about you. And Adam said, no, it's about the people. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So we had a person come do a photo ops. And before Adam can get his message on Facebook that he's running, this person went and put it on Facebook like he set up the event for Adam and that he was the one to get Adam to run against Robin Voss and made it look like it was a team between Timothy Ratham, Adam, and him. I don't like deception. So we can start right there.
All right, right there. So the person that we're speaking about, I have some personal experience with, and yes, Jonathan, absolutely. And I have so much tolerance, I think, for differing opinions. But if you show me that you lack integrity, we're done. Like, I'm out. So, Kyle Eudes, done. Taylor Wishaw, done. Jonathan Wickman, done. When Jonathan first came onto, well, towards the beginning of coming onto the scene, when he was running for governor, I had him come and speak at an event that we set up, and there was some personal dialogue. After that, he was running really closely with Kyle Eudes. They were like best buddies. Yeah, Tara, the renowned author of 007 Dating for Men. If anybody can get their hands on that book, I want it. Please. Like, I have searched high and low. 53 pages of self-published dating advice from Jonathan Wickman. So, cool.
Well, yeah. Let me jump in real quick. My problem is this, and I understand how politics work, but if we are men and women of God, there's a certain thing we do not do. We cannot do it because what we're doing is we're sending out a message that when you are of God, you are allowed to walk righteous until you enter politics. And then you don't walk righteous anymore. That's the part that bothers me because we run around and they say they belong to God and then they do ungodly stuff. So, this is why we in the mess we in our country, because you got so many that split their lives, and when they come to politics, they do things that they don't have no business doing. And so when the deceptions start to happen, and by the way, as lieutenant governor candidate, y'all have all seen my answers when they ask me, who do I prefer to be the governor? And I tell you guys, I don't know who's going to be the governor. All I know is if they do their job, I'm going to compliment them. If they don't do their job, I'm going to agitate them, right?
Yeah.
No lieutenant governor, if they're smart, will endorse a governor candidate because you limit yourself. You limit yourself to voters.
Yeah.
Well, today he endorsed Timothy Rampton. So the whole plan was not to get out of the race to not divide the votes. It was get out of the race to make a team. And that's the dangerous for a statewide race. And that's why people don't want to go after the primary and vote because of the mess that happens before, you know, and you got all these people supposed to be following you. And then all of a sudden now you do something crazy and now they're not going to support anybody else because everybody's calling out your ungodliness. Okay. And so I'm waiting to see if Timothy Rampton is going to reciprocate that endorsement.
That would be very unfortunate.
I think you actually laid something out. I don't want to take off a turn to the left, but when you're talking about character and you're talking about morals and values, we don't teach that anymore. If you look at our educational system, we've said that we've replaced morals and values with education, but we've replaced it with socialism. But we'll talk about that at some point later down the road.
No, let's go there now. We can go there. Let's go.
But okay, we can go there. If you look at our educational system, we're struggling to present facts and values and morals as absolute truth.
Yeah.
And I said this in 2018 when I ran for Congress that you don't have to believe God or like God, but when you take God out of your schools, there's no moral line in the sand anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And without those morals and those values, your society falls apart. And you're seeing the results of that in every aspect of our lives, but especially when it comes to teaching what men should do. That's what Dr. King was talking about earlier, that men should stand up and open the door for a woman. They should have the character to understand the society that they live in, that yes, being a man is a leader, but a leader is a true servant. And that doesn't mean stepping on others in order to get what you want. So these are just core values that you can't really teach. They're picked up and they're learned in the home, but when they're not reinforced in our schools, they're completely ignored and probably smashed on the floor. Then we're at the point where you're looking at the results of 2 or 3 generations of a lack of character being brought forth by our educational system. So yeah, that's a very good conversation.
Yeah, and you know, I talked about it and think about it Tuesday this morning. You had the Kennedy brothers took a picture with Martin Luther King and they had him in the middle. What people don't know, the Kennedy brothers didn't like Martin Luther King. So the deception in the picture was you had 2 Democrats with a Republican in the middle who they didn't like, but it made the people think they was together, right? And then when you had Obama running for president, you had a picture of Obama and Dr. King on the same T-shirt. And on the top of the T-shirt, it said, "I had a dream." And it had Obama and Dr. King. And on the bottom, it says, "I am the dream." So here it is. You got another, again, you got a Democrat and a Republican on the same T-shirt, because we understand that this world deceives us by images and by words, right? And so with what happened on yesterday. Now, I probably would have gave him maybe a small pass if he would allow Adam to go on Facebook and present the pictures and Adam says this thing. But when you come uninvited, invite yourself, take pictures, and then go out and act like y'all the Three Musketeers, that's a problem. That's not character at all.
No.
Now, I took a picture with Adam. I didn't post nothing on Facebook, but I took my picture with him. I took a picture with him. Me and my wife took a picture with Adam. But did I put on Facebook? No, because it was Adam's time. Adam was supposed to do all of that. And Paris, I just saw it today on the Wisconsin Conservative Digest. He announced Adam's running, but then, and he also put on there Dr. David D. King, candidate for lieutenant governor, endorsed Adam. Now I don't have a problem with that because Paris know how I feel about Adam. So I have no problem. But if I did not know Adam the way I know Adam, or didn't like Adam or anything, and he put that there, then I would have a problem with the little Greek freak. So being a little Greek freak with it, have a conversation. But the thing about it is, you got to at least get permission. You got to learn to have respect for the next person.
It comes down to we don't have boundaries anymore. We've given up the idea of boundaries. So I can encroach on your rights because my rights are more important than yours. That's literally what that argument comes down to.
Wow.
Somebody said nightmares are dreams too.
Yeah. Very true.
Yep, that's all he had to do was make a call and say, "Do you mind if I do this?"
And I would have said, "Stay home." No.
Wait. Aaron, we're going to put you on the show in a minute.
Thank you, Aaron.
Join the fun.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't show integrity. And the thing about it is, everybody wants to be first to break the news. Okay, breaking the news is one thing, but making it seem like you did it is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Because he didn't say Adam made an announcement. He said we. That's where the conception comes in at.
Yep.
We, us, not Adam. So it made it look like it was their event. See, one of the things that we got to do is we got to look at words too, because words is perception.
I was just going to say that.
Well, and playing devil's advocate for just 1 minute, could it be possible that it's the Republican Party's idea of we need to look and sound unified? And so we're in this together, right? We're all like, that seems to be the common refrain for the last 2 years is we're all in this together, right? And so you just like, I of course I'm playing devil's advocate because I don't know the full story or anything, but just that idea of maybe this was the thought process. Ooh, we're doing this.
I'm so glad you said that. But let me how can he be singing the Republican message when he's been speaking anti-Republican for 2 years?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the thing about it is when we go, people are picking leaders.
Yep.
Okay, even though people are not leaders, they're picking them as leaders.
Yeah.
And and what they're saying to these people is, I'll give you an example. What I'm trying to say, my one of the men in my church, anti-politics. He was totally, don't talk to me about politics. I don't want to hear nothing about politics. But as it went on, he's been watching and he's been listening and he's been going to things with me and he's been open-minded, right? He said something in church one day that just really blew my mind. This is what he says. I trust this man with my soul, so I should trust him with my vote.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's pretty powerful.
So if we trust, when we join the church, what we really saying, it, whether we realize it or not, we're saying to that leadership, I'm trusting you with my soul. So I'm trusting you that you're going to teach me right. I'm trusting you that you're going to lead me right. I'm trusting you. I'm putting something valuable in your hands. And as pastors, that's what we have to see it as. When someone come under us, they're trusting that we're going to do the right thing with their lives to guide them in the right direction according to the word of God, right?
Yes.
When you vote for somebody, you're saying the same thing. I'm trusting you with my life. I'm trusting you to go make or follow the Constitution that I can enjoy life the way I'm supposed to enjoy life. I trust you. But if you lying to me in the primaries and in the election process itself, then I'm in trouble when you get in office.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're telling people now we trusting you with our children's life. That's why you notice I say this. I say, hey, Ryan, whenever you're ready, you can just come on. But I said this. I said, I don't want y'all to like me. I don't want you to like me. But I need you to trust me enough that if the governor go down, that I can take the realm and lead the state in a way that it's supposed to be going. And I personally would tell Joe Biden and the federal government to kiss our grits. Because
fantastic.
Woo.
Doctrine of the lesser magistrates.
Okay, so somebody just said, who is that? Oh, Kathy Woods. Say, I trust you with my soul. Okay, thank God for that. But the thing that I'm trying to make is that's how serious these elections are. Because we are telling people, I trust you to make the right decision for my life. And if we're not walking in integrity, see, we shouldn't have to wait to see you evil once we vote you in.
Yeah.
And that's what we go ahead, Sarah.
I was just saying, well said to Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well said.
I would change officials to representatives, though.
You would.
Good point, Sarah.
And if they're not representing us right, they ought to get fired.
Yeah.
And that's up to the people to do the firing.
That's it.
And the problem that I have with that is we have so many people who are like, oh, well, the firing process is, you vote somebody in every 2 years or 4 years or whatever. And it's like, okay, but they do a lot of damage in the 2 years or 4 years that they're in. And we don't know that before they get in. And yet they're out there wreaking havoc on our liberties. And we have no recourse except to fire them in 2 years and then put somebody in who's just as bad, if not worse.
And that's why people crying now that voted for Biden. They crying. They were like, wait a minute, what did we do?
I told you.
This is where the integrity comes in, that we need men and women who know what it means to stand up and represent their fellow citizens. I mean, that's the hardest thing that I've struggled with educating people is you had your perfect comments there. We need somebody to replace them, but who's going to do it? Who's going to step up and stand?
And until we have people, integrity-driven people who are going to the polls on a regular basis and actually voting for the right people, and I'm not saying there's no integrity-driven people, but it's like they've on both sides. There's refrain. Everybody should have the right to vote. That's not true. If you don't know what you're voting for, if you're voting because they're black, or you're voting because they are transgender, or you're voting because of all of these abstract concepts,
because they're a woman.
Or because they're a woman.
I mean,
or because who was it? Somebody told me, was it during Clinton's presidency? They voted for him because he was better looking than the other candidate. I'm like, you just disqualified yourself.
Come on, that's kind of legit now.
And I give you guys a prime example. I tell people now as we travel the state, I say, can you do me one big favor? Stop making black conservative a hot commodity. I mean, just because the color of our skin and we're conservative. I mean, we're Americans. We just grew up in a conservative environment, right?
Yeah.
So for example, we got people, we got one running for treasurer. And I asked the guy, I said, let me ask you this question. I said, if he was white, would you check his qualifications to make sure that he knows anything about being a treasurer?
Mhm.
And he said, yeah. So why won't you do it to him?
Mm.
Because that's how we get messed up. We see something and we don't know, no experience at all. We run around and we say things like, I'm not gonna sign these checks. You don't have no power not to sign a check. If the money is allocated, it goes. You can't stop it.
Yep.
But because of color of the skin, everybody, yay! No, stop and think. If you ever ran a business and you got somebody in there in the finance department, that finance person said, I don't like them. I'm not sending them their check. They can't do nothing like that.
Yeah.
But we're not paying attention. We just so hyped right now. And that's how we get deceived, because we just so hyped and we just so and so I don't even know, emotional that we don't even slow down and think for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this was a selfless act. Really? Aaron is doing a selfless act. Adam is doing a selfless act.
Go Adam.
David is doing a selfless act. Anybody that put their name out there to run for office is doing a selfless act, because you got the time away from your family. You got a time away if you got a business. You got time away from yourself. You be like, when do I get a break? People ask me, do you ever get a break? Oh yeah, I break away. Because I was taught either you come apart before you come apart.
Yeah.
So I come apart before I come apart. And so when we look at this thing, we gotta slow down and say, wait a minute, everybody's doing a selfless act. So what's the real reason behind that? It's just like when the devil told Eve. He told her, he says, can you eat from any tree? He already knew the answer. He wanted to know what she knew.
Yeah.
And then she said, well, there's 2 trees we can't eat. And then she said, if we touch it, we'll die. God never said if you touch it, you're going to die. But because she gave misinformation, he says, you know what? I found somebody that's acting ignorant. So I'm going to use their ignorance to my gain.
Yeah.
And that's what we got. That's what we have in politics. We allow people to be we use their ignorance against them to make them think we are good people, right?
Yeah.
For example, we got and I'm gonna talk about my race, and then I'm gonna let Adam talk about his, because we got 2 people. Well, I ain't even gonna talk about Jonathan right now because he's nothing. But you got David Burnham, who's the mayor of Lancaster, right? He thought people didn't understand the order of government. So he was like, during 2020, we didn't close our parks. And somebody said, but did you close your church and your business?
Yeah.
He said, no, I didn't. Evers did. You the mayor.
Yep. Nope.
Wrong answer.
Yep.
Wrong answer.
Yep.
You're the mayor. So if you're the mayor, you had the authority, the majesty to say no.
Yep.
You're not closing our businesses.
Yep. And you could have had a constitutional sheriff standing behind you saying, we're not letting the federal government in this city.
Yep.
That's it. And so all we had to do is stand up, and just stop deceiving people like we don't know law. And I'm sitting there when he said that, I'm like, wait a minute, you're in charge. You're the CEO of the city.
Yep.
And you're gonna use that as a lie because he's hoping people don't know.
Yeah.
And they don't.
And they don't.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with the 2 state senators in my race. Ryan, I'm finna pick them off one by one. The 2 state senators that's in my race. They're writing these bills knowing it's going to get vetoed to look like they're doing something.
Yeah.
Right.
But they not one time call a press conference, tell you to keep your business open, keep your church open. Don't listen to the mandates because it's not law. It's only a mandate. It's not law. But they didn't do that for us. So how is they walking in integrity?
Yep.
Go ahead, Adam.
It's perception, and that's exactly what we've relied on. We've relied on a general populace that hasn't paid attention. And I think there was a smart guy, I think I talked about this last time I was on the show, that said we first have to repent.
Yes.
That our eyes were closed, right?
Yep.
We didn't pay attention. And I have to say this is all of us that have opened our eyes and said, this doesn't look right. There's something that doesn't feel right about what's going on. And when it comes to the surface, and I specifically referenced our past president, Donald Trump, that said, we don't have to be perfect, guys.
Yeah.
We are fallen people that are stepping forward to serve. Yeah. And if you want to throw darts, throw darts. Yeah. But we have to educate these people so they know what's going on around them. And we can't keep closing our eyes, put our heads in the sand and saying, well, I hope it turns out better next time.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and this is exactly what Alexander Hamilton was talking about when he was talking about we've been given this time to either prove we can rule by reason and reflection and choice, or do we dissolve back into violence and accident and force and all of that? And that's exactly what we're seeing when reason, when reflection and choice are not the driving force in our governance, then what fills that vacuum? It's chaos. And because we don't have an informed citizenry, because we don't have an educated people who know what their rights are and know how to defend them, then we don't know how to vote, because we just vote for the person with the right letter after their name.
Yep. Exactly.
Very well put.
And Ryan, you want to come on, man? Because I mean, you making some good points out here now. But the thing about it that I see is this. For a long time, like Adam said, our head was in the sand. Yep. And you know why? Because certain things didn't affect our house. So because it didn't affect our house, we didn't pay it no attention, right? Yep. Now that it hit the house, I remember I was speaking in White Law in 2020. Oh, still waiting. Okay. In White Law in 2020. And I said this in White Law. I said, I said, I love Trump policies. I love what he was doing policy. I said, but I'll be honest with you guys. Every time that man go to Twitter, I shake my head. And I'm sitting there like, okay, now how do I defend this? Because his policies was opposite of what he was saying. Mm-hmm. And people was like, well, he just did. No, he's not. If you slow down and just look at what he's done, it's like right now we look at, for example, the Republican Party. Yep, they did Acts 10. Yay. But they didn't get rid of Common Core at the same time, right? Yay, they gave us concealed carries, but they could have gave us constitutional carries. Well, everybody don't know who's carrying anymore, but now all they got to do is go to the database and they know which one of us got a gun.
Right.
So, so certain things, when you look at it, you can look at it and say, yeah, that's great. And then you can look at it and say, well, not quite, because what we was really wanting is to get rid of Common Core at the time, because you didn't get rid of Common Core. Now we got CRT, and now we really in trouble. Yeah. Oh, no, wait a minute. You gave us concealed carry. Yeah, but you took a piece of our rights away, that the parents don't have rights with their kids anymore. And that, I'm still trying to figure this one out. And I'm in this web with child support, right? why do they put interest on our own children? Like they loaning us our kids.
Yep.
You know, so I certain things that I stop and I look at and be like, wait a minute, where's this crap coming from? And it don't come from one side; it's coming from both sides.
Yes.
And you know, they sit together, they talk about each other during election time, and then they're having lunch together when it's off election time.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
Remember the Supreme Court judge that just died?
Yep.
The liberal. Every holiday, whose house was she eating at, and who was eating at her house?
Yeah.
You know, so they play these games with us.
Yeah.
Making it seem like they at odd. Different wings, same dirty bird.
Nice. I like that.
I love Dina.
but the thing that I have a problem with is we kept our head down too long. Because we, not them, but we created this mess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel bad because there's parts of me that are just like, you know, I just want to push off the fault to the previous generations, right? The silent generation and all of these other generations who started this mess. But you know, we perpetuated it. I mean, I've been an adult for over 20 years, so I should have been fighting. I saw what was going on, and I knew that I knew my Constitution. I had it memorized in high school, so it wasn't like I was unaware of what my rights were. But you know, but I stayed silent because it was easier to avoid conflict and not challenge the status quo. It was comfortable. And I mean, this is the thing I love about our founders. They knew this stuff. They knew it. Thomas Jefferson even said in our Declaration of Independence, we are willing to suffer when the evils are sufferable, right? We don't think about the fact that we're told what kind of light bulbs we can put into our sockets. We don't think about the fact that we have regulations on our vehicles that every vehicle has to have seat belts. And yeah, we'll look at it and justify it. It's a safety feature, right? Yeah. But that should be my choice. Yep. It should still be my choice. And so these types of things, they were just small little bits and pieces. Oh, we'll give you concealed carry because that's constitutional. I should be able to have a Gatling gun in my backyard if I want, because that's keeping and bearing arms.
I like that Gatling gun. I like that. but you know what?
It's constitutionally protected, you know? I mean, because our rights do not come from the Constitution. They don't come from governments. They come from God. And we've forgotten that as a nation because we've rejected the God who created us. And until we can acknowledge him as Lord again, we're not going to have a free nation. That's how every empire rises and falls. The moment they reject God, they're gone. They're done.
Yes. And, you know, I tell you this.
Yeah.
On last Saturday, I preached a message, understanding the Constitution. And it's not a time to worry. It's a time to get busy.
Yes.
And I hold up both Constitution, the Word of God and the Constitution itself, right?
Yep.
And I begin to share how both give you liberty, how both give you freedom to be whoever you wants to be at that time, right?
Yep.
And at the end of service, every member in the church asks for a pocket constitution. So I got to go out before Saturday and get a bunch of small constitution because now everybody wants the Constitution.
Awesome.
And one of the things that I said to them was, you won't never know how to live in America until you understand the Constitution.
Yep.
Right.
And the Declaration. Don't forget the Declaration. Those two have to be together.
Oh, yeah. It's together. It's in the book together.
Yep. I'm a little passionate about that.
It's in the book together. But what I was showing them was the Constitution of the United States is for the way how you're supposed to live in this country. The Constitution of the Word of God, which is the kingdom of God, is how you're supposed to govern the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
So if you're not using the Constitution of the kingdom of God, you can never govern the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah. I mean, again, our founder said this Constitution is made for a moral and virtuous people. It is insignificant. It is inadequate for anyone else. I'm misquoting, I know. I don't have it fully memorized anymore. My mommy brain kind of took over.
Well, and you know that's something that we have to really look at. Without morals, you're not going to have anything. Without character, you're not going to have anything. Without integrity, you're not going to have. That's why the Bible teaches us. And where do our integrity come from? It comes from the Bible. He said, "Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Let it be yes, no. Don't. Anything else is sinful. Anything else is evil. So just yes, I'm gonna represent the people." Wait a minute. Somebody said what? Oh, this is Stacy.
Has a whole bunch of constitutions.
A whole box.
Yeah.
Okay, Stacy, we're gonna have to meet somewhere in the middle so I can get those constitutions because I gotta have them for the members. They all asking for them. But the thing about it is, you have to. You know, one thing that I love about my wife, you know, not because I just love her, she's just amazing and awesome. But one of the things that I loved about her was she jumped in a race, didn't have that much time, right? She just jumped in at the last minute. I think she had like a week to get her signatures, and then bam, you got another couple of weeks, and then you got the primary.
Yep.
And she did it, right? And when she did it, she knocked on doors. She went out even by herself. She went into the bars to talk to people, business owners, and talk to people. But what got me with her was this. Now, she didn't make it through the primary, but she won. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. She laid in the bed looking at the numbers coming in, and she saw her name. And she saw people voting on her name. And it was like, I did it. You know, it was like, I did it. And I was like, you know, I'm so proud of you because, yes, you came out of your comfort zone to stand up for what you believe in. And so I was like, wow. You know, I thought she probably said, well, you know, I don't know if I'm maybe next time. But no, she was like, oh my God, I did it, you know. And I'm sitting there like, yes, you won because you didn't win the race, but you won because you stepped out to do something that you never thought you would do in your life.
You have to define winning. I was asked by a pastor when I ran in 2018. He asked me, he said, what is winning to you? Is winning becoming a congressman? Is winning knocking on 3,500 doors to get signatures and telling them you're a Christian conservative Republican? Please define winning in your heart, because once you understand what that means, that you are serving a much higher power than this world. Once you define what winning is, it changes your perspective. And that is it. It took me a while. It took me a while to actually process it in my head. I thought I knew exactly what I was doing. And once I opened my eyes to see that we are stepping forward in faith, that's it. We're putting ourselves out there and allowing our peers to judge us.
Yes.
And to step forward and say, I'm willing to serve if you will have me.
Exactly.
And allowing them to make a choice.
And knowing that actually sitting in that seat of governance, if you're okay, I'm gonna geek out just a bit. Has anybody ever seen Cool Runnings?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so that scene where his coach is talking to him, he's like, well, how do you know you're enough? You know, how do you know you're enough? And he's like, if you're not enough without it, you're not enough with it. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's one of the ones Disney did well. But yeah, that concept of, you know, if all we are working for is that seat at the table, and that is what we identify ourselves as, and we are never going to be enough, and we better step out of that race right then and there.
You said it so perfectly, and I remembered looking at my then 4-year-old daughter and being able to explain to her that everybody doesn't win, no matter what society teaches you. At 4 years old, we spent the entire summer in parades. We had to do parades the next year because we just hadn't got enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she got to see firsthand that all the effort that you can strive for, everything you can put in,
Yeah.
doesn't always justify the result.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might not win that specific goal that you were shooting for, but
Yes.
did we learn a lot? We learned a ton about our family, about our society, about our country. We started memorizing the Constitution.
Yeah.
All these things that we could gain from this opportunity, but we didn't win.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes your mind from the temporal on the right here and the right now, and it forces you to think about what is coming, not what is here and now.
Now, I
Exactly.
left that up there, you guys, because that's Kathy Woods, who's running for alderman in Kenosha. And
Yep.
this gentleman right here is running for county supervisor in Manitowoc, right?
I love
Morgan,
it.
in Manitowoc. This is Morgan, and he's running.
Well done.
I think it's county supervisor.
That's awesome.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan, but he's running also. And you know, you guys, you're right. I took my son at the age of 3 to all the tea parties I spoke at. I took him with me. And at one of the tea parties, I brought him on stage. And when I brought him on stage, I picked him up and I explained to the people, this is why I'm fighting.
Yep.
Yep.
Right here. This is why I'm out here. This is why I'm traveling the state. Not charging anybody anything to come speak because I'm in a battle. This is why I am here. Yep, he said County Board Districts 3. So anybody in Manitowoc in District 3, I need you to go out and vote for Morgan. I'm gonna have Morgan on the show next week. If Morgan is free, I'm gonna have him on the show next week. But this is what it's about. And we don't have time to be fooled. We got to do homework. There's so much at stake that I don't think people understand. And I share with them. I share with the group. I said, why do you think God gave the children of Israel law before he gave them land? He gave them law before he gave them land. And the reason he gave them law before he gave them land, because law produced culture.
Yep.
So whoever we allow to make the law, we're allowing them to produce a culture.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he did not want them to go into the promised land with the old culture where they can worship anything and everything.
Yeah.
So he says, listen, why you think the founding fathers created the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution? Because he didn't want them to have, even though they had their freedom, he didn't want them to have that same culture that they fought against.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, and so as we move forward, we got to make sure that the culture we're allowed to come, that we push back on it now.
Yep.
And we have to have a seat at the table. And
Yes.
that has been the discussion that I've had with so many people for at least 10 or 15 years, that it's not losing the culture war. It's not these chippy phrases that we talk about. It's participating in public policy, guys.
Yes.
Our forefathers did not expect that a list of people that had great last names were going to lead this country. They left that for a reason, because they could not break into that aristocracy. It was a bloodline.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they formed a government that allowed us as citizens to actually participate in this. This has never been done before in the history of the world.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it was the poorest farmer could have the same equal representation as the richest businessman.
Yep. Hi,
And
Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Can you all hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Good. I'm using different headphones tonight, so trying to run off my phone instead of trying to get a computer going.
Good idea.
What's going on, Rockstar?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Excellent.
It's going. And you know, and this is why integrity is so important right now. And this is why we got to expose all the deception. We cannot just, we cannot just, let me just say it this way. If we allow it, we're just as bad as the one that's doing it.
Yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
when we look at everything that's going on, I'm talking about, when you're talking about integrity, you're talking about holding both sides accountable. You're not talking about just one side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because one of the things that we have to understand is this, and I don't know why it don't register with us. Whoever get in office, you're not just in office for your party. You in
Right.
office for all the people. So
Yep.
you got to be able to be willing to make a conscious decision for everybody.
Yep.
And that's extremely important because we have to continue learning. And I like sharing what we learn, that when you stand up in front of a crowd of people and say, these are my values, this is what I believe, they are voting on your ability to do what you said you are going to do to represent.
Mhm.
And the only thing they can judge that on is your character.
Yep.
And that is so critical, because that, if you want to say that's what's on trial, that really is what's on trial. Your willingness to step forward and say, here's what I have done. Here is my family. Here is the life that I've led.
Yeah.
And because of what I've done, Sarah said it so wisely, that this is what I'm presenting to you to vote on. Think about our founding fathers. Think about when they were writing the Constitution. There were waitresses, there were bartenders, there were blacksmiths, there were carpenters. These were men and women that were to go serve the rest of their community. The responsibility to go represent your community and all these different occupations in the Capitol. Like, I know we might trivialize it now, but that was a big deal.
Yeah.
To be able to go serve and to have the character to know that person has worked in that town for X amount of years, raising a family, whether they ran a business or just were a laborer.
Yeah.
That they had the character to go step up and serve is something I think we kind of lose track of it, because we don't see it in that light when they were writing this document, that it was everybody and anybody could go do this job.
Yeah, and we forget that it wasn't that they had to be an expert in their field, right? It's not like all of these people who were just starting out a country knew how to run one, right? They're like they use the wisdom of God, they use the wisdom of philosophers and theologians and historians and all of these things, all of the experts, the classical mentors that they gathered around them. I mean, James Madison spent an entire year reading 400 books. It is like my bucket list. I would love to just sit and read for a year. But he took copious notes so that he could give this to the other people and say, hey, this is what we've got. This is our history. This is the information I've gleaned from all of these wise people. We may not know how to do it, but we have different bits and pieces they did. And guess what? We're going to use the Bible first and foremost, because the life of Christ is the best source for knowing how to govern. And so they did it. They stepped into it blindly and in this crazy idea that somehow we would be able to have a different form of government that would protect our God-given rights and treat every human being as worth it. We're worthy. And so to turn around now in our culture nowadays and say, oh yeah, well, that was just some archaic old guys with some dusty manuscripts. We don't have to follow that because we know better, right? And it's like, okay, every one of these, I mean, literally when they gave their speeches, they would ad-lib these speeches and they would literally be pulling verses from the Bible, ad-libbing. They knew the word of God so well that they could literally write a speech out of the scriptures, you know? I mean, you just think about that. How many of us nowadays could actually write an entire speech that was completely taken from scriptures and it actually worked?
Not you.
Okay, you're a pastor. You know
it has to be.
How many lay people and not pastors
but
can do that?
I don't do that. But one of the things I do is this. That's why I never write a speech. That's why I speak from the heart. And I always ask God every morning, I ask for divine wisdom, divine idea, and divine favor.
Yeah.
That's what I ask for, because none of us can do anything without God giving us the revelation, giving us the insight on how to do it, right? And so if we're going to fix anything that's messed up, we got to go to God and say, okay, Lord, how do we fix this?
Yeah.
And God said, okay, you have to do this, this, and this. If you do this, this, and this, it'll be fixed. And then you sit there and you do exactly what he says, and you be like, all this time I've been doing something else, and all I had to do was this. You know, so when we look at average people, you're not average if you got God.
Yep. Amen.
And that's the thing that we have to understand. We're not average. And the thing is, we got to stop being afraid to let people know we represent God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know, and that's why it was funny, because I met one of you ladies by doing what I always do. And then I met the other one by getting drilled on what I do. So, you know, so and the thing about it is, I love the way I met both, because one, I didn't have to say, well, I was at the Capitol, I did this, because why? They was at the Capitol and they did it, right? And then the other one, she wanted to know, I call her the Constitution Queen. She hit me straight up with Constitution. What kind of nation is this? I'm like, oh, wait, let me back it up. But the thing is, though, if you only can pretend for a while, and then the real you seeps out. Okay, and so when we start talking,
when pressure is applied, the real you comes out.
Oh, when pressure, so you know, so when we look, Ryan, you're gonna have to jump in here, because we're still talking about integrity. We just added.
You know what I wanted to say before, kind of to the point of it being average people, right? The other thing that didn't happen back in the day was representatives spending 300 days a year in Washington.
Yeah.
It was the reverse. They spent 300 days at home, doing their job, actually talking to the people they represent. We've got backwards now. We can't get these representatives out of Washington to save our lives. I mean, you want to know what's going on the ground, you've got to be on the ground. And I know, you know, some of them put on these town halls and everything else, and that's fine. But you're only getting a small cross-section of people that, you know, show up to these things. You're not getting the full flavor of what's actually going on in the ground. They come in for a day or two, do these town halls, and then it's back to the cesspool of Washington. Where they sit in the ivory tower and they make decisions based on how they feel and not what the people want.
But you
have to get back to these sessions being no more than, you know, 50, 60 days a year. It's the business of the government done to keep the country running. Call emergency sessions if there's an emergency. But other than that, they should be in their district, in their home state, talking to the people, living with the people they represent.
I mean, it was supposed to be a part-time voluntary job. That's the
exactly.
And it wasn't a career.
More than any of us make.
I mean, and now they retire with benefits and free healthcare for the rest of their life. Their kids get free benefits. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? We're going right back to the aristocracy.
Their kids get to make deals with foreign governments, and you know.
And the problem we have, and again, it goes back to our fault.
It is.
We allow them to do town hall meetings on their agenda, not ours. You ever notice that? Every time we do a town hall, they tell us what we want. No, you need to sit here and answer some of our questions. We don't want you to sit here and waste our time with something that we already know you're gonna say. No, we need to call you up. You need to come and sit down, and you don't even know what's the agenda. You need to sit there and we drill you on what we want you to do.
But do you know how ingrained that is in our county parties and in our
Oh my
local
gosh.
communities where we're literally pandering to the candidates, saying, okay, well, we won't change our agenda. We had an event where the candidates came and they were supposed to be a discussion panel that answered questions from the crowd. They came with pre-approved questions. This is an ongoing thing. And they didn't even deal with the questions that everybody had. And so it is so frustrating being part of, like, on an executive team in a county party, going, why can't we sit them down and say, okay, you have 3 minutes to answer these questions, and then you're out. We're done. We're done listening to you give your little fun elevator speech. We want to know what you're gonna do when you hit the fire. Like that is what we want to know.
Now that while we're still talking about integrity, something else I saw today that kind of made me laugh. There's another one of my opponents is putting up county party caucuses votes, right? On how many votes that they're making in these caucuses, right? And like they're leading well, Cindy Warner putting them up, and it's like she's the leader of the caucuses, and she putting up how many votes somebody go. Well, if you don't make it to the caucus, you're not going to get a vote if they don't hear you speak at that moment, right?
Yeah.
But here's the funny part and the weird part about it, that again, another deception. Milwaukee County, for example, they had, I think it was Reagan Day dinner the other day, or Lincoln Day, one of them.
Yeah, Lincoln Day.
But it was over 200 people there. You went to the caucus, it was 10%, 20 people.
Yeah.
So how are you winning with only 20 people? You know, we have to stop all these so-called fake polls. You know, they run these polls, and then under the bottom of the poll, it says paid for by. Why would you put a poll up there and say paid for by your campaign?
Yeah.
You know,
talk about bias.
Yeah, so we're trying to deceive the people, trying to make people say, well, I am the favorite. You know, I'm like, okay, why we gotta, you know, and people are calling and say, well, we want you guys to come in. I want to send you the questions. I'll be like, I don't want the questions. Just ask me when I get there. I'm not going to prepare for a question. You're not going to. What kind of stuff is that where I'm on my way, you folks getting ready to interview me, and you give me the questions ahead of time?
It's like cheating.
Redefining the hot seat there.
Giving me a cheat sheet.
And if you want to see how somebody acts under pressure, that's not going to do it.
No.
You need to like fire questions at them that they don't have a prepared answer to.
Right.
And if you can't answer it calmly and their character comes out, you know that's what you don't want for representation.
Well, isn't that why we get candidates who answer, like when they are hit with these questions, they are given a prepackaged answer from their team saying, okay, if you get hit with say, what do you think about homosexuality? Or what do you think about, partial birth abortion bans and all of these things? They give this softball answer that it could go one way or the other. It's not, it's like you're sitting on the fence with it instead of going, no, I am absolutely opposed to partial birth abortion and I want it banned. I want abortion banned from conception on. I don't care what age the child is. That child has meaning and worth as a human being. And they don't ever come out with that. They soften it. They water it down so that
you should have been there last night. You should have been there last night. I'm at the bar ordering my food, and this woman come up to me and says, "So what do you think about my body, my choice?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? My body, my choice?" She said, "Just what I said, my body, my choice." I said, "Are you talking my body, my choice when it comes to abortion, or are you talking my body, my choice when it comes to vaccine?" She said, "Both." I said, "Well, let's talk about abortion. You talking about your body, your choice, but you're not killing your body. You're killing another body."
Yep.
So, you know, and we went at it for a while, but she says, this is what she said to me at the end of it. She said, "I love that conversation. One thing we don't agree on, but that's okay. But I still like the way you stand." And I told her, I tell people everywhere I go, I'm never going to tell you what you want to hear. I will tell you what you need to hear. I'm not going to sit there and wonder where your stand is and then try to put the icing on the cake from your stand. This is what I stand on. This is what I believe. And I told them up in Westby Sunday, I said, life begin with me is when the sperm hit the egg.
Yep.
That's life.
Yep.
Well, I really want to end on a high note, but I've really got to get out of here. Life
begins on a high note. Come on.
Life begins at conception, period. Because if life doesn't begin at conception, I've got 2 daughters. I got quizzed for months while running. What about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? I said, I got an engineering degree. You don't have to have an engineering degree to know what 100% means, guys.
Right.
This isn't rocket science. Is it 100% or is it 98% or is it 99? I can do the math.
Yeah.
But 100 means 100. And the critical point that we skip over so many times is if you don't have that core tenet that life begins at the point of conception, none of your other rights matter. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Your guns, your healthcare, your education, those are all fun things to talk about. But if life has no value, guys, why are we talking about it?
Well, then it becomes an abstract concept that nobody can actually fully define anymore.
You got it.
Okay, state rep. I know you got to get ready to go. Then we're gonna turn Ryan loose so he can talk about race and other things. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the spotlight on you.
Okay.
And give us your last comment, thoughts, whatever, because I know you got to go. We're in your corner. We're rooting for you, and we know that it's not an easy battle because now you're David going against Goliath. And if you need an extra stone, I'll go find you one myself. But give us your last thing before you leave us, and so.
Excellent. Well, you kind of laid out my speech for me. I love it. Why did David pick up 5 stones? It's very clear. Goliath had 4 brothers. He was taught at a young age to know that no matter what happened, whether it was the lion or the bear, he knew that God was in control. And he knew that because his parents had taught him to know how to follow the living God that was right in front of them each and every day. And I think we need to look back at that example and say, what are we teaching our kids? Are we teaching them that you can sit on the sidelines and do as little as possible and get by? Or are you actually going to stand up and fight, whether it be at the ballot box, whether it be my buddy in the army? Is it somebody that is serving in the military? Is it somebody who is working as a county clerk in our election officials? I was in Madison today listening to Justice Gableman give his report, and it's amazing the people that we have that help make this country great, guys. We have lots of dedicated men and women that are here to serve, and that to me is what's most important. So in leaving you, I'd love for everyone to take a look at our website. I'll spell it for you just in case you haven't heard it yet. My last name is Steen, STEEN, forus.com. So steenforus.com. I have all the information about me is on the website. If you have any questions, send me an email. I've got a form to fill out if you'd like to volunteer. Donations are on the page as well. But it's going to take an army. And that army has to come from the grassroots. There's no one else that's here to save us. If we want change, we have to act. And that action is going to come in the next 6 months. So I appreciate the time. Thank you for talking about integrity, because without integrity, we have nothing. Our character and our values and our morals, all the things we talk about are just lip service without something to back it up. And that integrity in our character shows who we really are and what we represent. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the night. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate you coming on. We know you're busy. You got a lot to do. We're going to support. We're backing you. you know, you're not running a statewide race, so I can publicly endorse you just like I endorse Ryan and Aaron. So, you know, we're going to do what we got to do as men of God to become victorious and fix our stick, and then we can fix the nation. But we got to start at home first.
Yes,
so
sir.
we thank God for you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Adam. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
So now, Mr. Ryan.
Hot seat.
Hot seat, Ryan. You was there last night. You saw. You was there last night, or did you leave?
Yep.
Did you leave, or you?
I had to leave. I left about 6 o'clock to go get my son from work.
Okay. You saw it on Facebook, right?
I saw, unless there's something that happened after 6, I didn't see it. I was there up till 6, the announcement and everything, and then anything after that I haven't seen.
Okay, well, we're gonna let your friend tell you, because I know she free now. Adam is gone. You can go wild now, man.
You know about the uninvited guest that was there, right?
Uninvited guest.
Yeah, you were able to identify.
Oh yeah,
somebody else running for lieutenant governor. Yeah.
Yep.
He took the night and like ran with it for himself. Like, this is about me. Did you see his post?
I did see his post.
Well, I can't see anything that he posts. So somebody shared it with me.
Well, let me just do it this way, because the problem that I have is this: he came uninvited because he heard Tim Rathon was going to be there. And he joined in, he invited himself and started taking pictures with everybody, made it look like it was his event. This is what he wrote.
Yep.
He says, I am excited to announce and support Adam Steen as he take on Wisconsin State Representative Robin Voss. We also had a special appearance from Timothy Rathon tonight. Help us. Where did this us come from? Help us.
Yeah, I did see that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that. I was gonna say I saw that post this morning, and I'm like, what is this? I didn't realize he was uninvited. I thought he was just tagging along with him. But I'm like, dude, this wasn't even your night, your event. And then we're talking about integrity. You show up uninvited. I mean, just stay in the corner where you know, it's I get it, have some face time, whatever, but don't treat it like you put the thing together like it was your night.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because he said we also had a special appearance. We had a special appearance. And then he put in here hashtag Saving Wisconsin Together. Wickman for lieutenant governor, Rathon for governor, Adam Steele public figure.
You know what? People see through that. I mean, I think we've gotten to a point where people are tired of just the politics as usual. I think people see that. Oh, I didn't quite. I'm on my phone, so it's all small. I can't see them.
This is Ed. Ed is here now, you guys.
Ed, I was watching this before I went and got my kid. I was getting so mad. I'm like, this is a lot of tough talk from a weak guy. I mean, you haven't done a thing about Russia yet. You're talking tough. Next thing we know, Putin and Xi both know this. Next thing you know, we're going to have warships on both coasts with this guy. I mean, talking like out of his mind. He doesn't no idea. Yeah. But anyway, back to last night's event. Yeah, I mean, I have some integrity, man. I mean, you're hokey pokey with what race you want to be in, and then you're going to try and steal someone's night, and then you're taking pictures with everybody. I mean,
Right.
Well, he was leeching off of Kyle Yude's popularity, and then you know, I don't know what the dynamic was that changed there, but then, you know, Kyle Yudes gets in the lieutenant governor race. Jonathan Wickman is running for, you know, governor, and then all of a sudden he ups and changes his race,
in 2 years.
and now he's going to leech on to somebody else because he knows that he can't do it on his own.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
people have seen through the games that he plays.
And the thing about it was last night, you had Aaron there, you had Ryan there, you had Tony there, you had me there, all candidates that wasn't campaigning. We was enjoying the night because it was not our night.
And it was such a wonderful night.
It was. You know what? You know what it really was? You guys, it was oh, this is Ryan right here.
yeah, no, that's exactly it.
That's it. But you know what it was? You know what it looked like? It looked like you ever been at a party with your new guy or your new girlfriend, and your ex shows up at the party, and you be like, oh my God, why they here?
I only had one ex and we're still friends, so I don't know about that.
I mean, that's what it looked like.
You look at parties all the time, or what?
But that's what it looked like. It looked like, okay, first of all, everybody was wondering why you're here. We already know why he was there because we knew Tim Rampton was coming.
Yep.
You know? But wait, it gets better. This is what he put last night. But this is what he put this morning. This morning, he says this, and I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to read the part what he said. He said, this is why I'm proud to fully back Rantham for governor. And I believe he is exactly what Wisconsin needs right now. Here it is, a man that was in the race for governor who drops to the lieutenant governor race and then opens his mouth to endorse a governor candidate.
Yeah, you know who else that didn't work well for? The hokey race, Ross Perot. I mean, it's just you pick a race and stick with it, man. I mean,
that's Ed.
Who?
And then then he put this. But you know,
I mean, and the thing is, people, like I said, people are seeing through it. People are done. I mean, just being out campaigning, talking to people, they're done with the politics as usual.
Yeah.
They're
not necessarily
done with the inauthenticity
because
they want people to be real.
But if you go on and you read some, well, his sidekick, wait a minute. This is his sidekick, the Justin Smicker, the Badger State Resistant. This is what he said. Man, oh man, wouldn't that be an amazing ticket? Wisconsin would have the strongest in the nation that let these individuals be elected. Strongest in the nations of what? Not having integrity? Deception? Yeah. Strongest in the nation in deception? You know, I mean, they sitting here and they're not paying attention. They're not paying attention that if a lieutenant governor candidate is smart, you would never, ever endorse another candidate for governor when you are still in the primary.
Yeah.
And why? Because you might have somebody that like one candidate and like you, but then like the other candidate. So the moment you put that on that candidate, this person says, I'm not supporting you.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I gotta keep up with Ed, y'all. Ed
burning it
up.
Oh
yeah,
tonight.
Ed is doing his thing tonight. you know, so the thing about it is to deceive the people, to make it like him and Adam is running buddies. Him and Adam is so close that Adam needed him there to make the announcement so it could look like him, Adam, and Tim. Really? I'm sitting there looking at this thing like, okay, but I got to give it to her. Ryan, when you left at 6 o'clock, she was so nice. I just knew she was gonna blow a fuse or have the SWAT team come. Or
if he would have gotten close enough to me, there would have been words. He avoided me. So and to Ed's point, I mean, I really do think that we should be apologizing to Ramthan. Wouldn't that be the thing of integrity to do?
Yep. But you know, I tell you this. I got a call this morning from Ramthan. And he said to me, I apologize that I didn't get a picture with you and your wife. You know, he said it bothered me all night, so I had to call you to apologize. I said to him, I want to just say this words of wisdom to you. Watch out who you let around you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you say you love God. Watch out who you allow around you.
Yeah.
You remember them little bugs that when we was coming up, they was called blood suckers. They were supposed to be them little black bugs that's supposed
Ticks?
to,
Ticks?
Leeches?
No,
Leeches?
not leeches now. But he could be a leech too, though. But
Yeah.
you know, not leeches. But well, in the city, we call them blood suckers. They were little black bugs that's supposed to get on your skin and bite and suck your blood or whatever. You know, that's
mosquitoes?
what they are. Huh?
Mosquitoes?
No, not mosquitoes. Not mosquitoes. They was little black bugs, and we used to call them blood suckers when we was coming up, and that's what they are. See, because one of the things, and some people called me right before Jonathan got in the lieutenant governor's race, and they said to me, you know, he only want to be around you to get the black votes. And I said, okay, he gonna get them. Might not be the way he wanted them, but he gonna get them. And so I started to play back, and he always was asking me, when are you gonna set up an event in Milwaukee for me? When are you gonna set up? You know, I'm like, I'm not setting up no event for you. I'd have had 3 events in Milwaukee and never invited him to none of them. I know what people want. I have a gift of discernment. I know when you ain't right.
Yeah.
You know, and I told my wife, I said, something ain't right with him. And my wife said, no, he's nice. And no, he's nice. I said, no, baby, something is not right with this one. And sure enough, he showed his true color. And you know what? Ed said this. Ed said, in January, he said, oh, it's January. We're about to see true colors. We're about to see what a person is really about. We're about to see mudslinging. He said, I'm going to get my popcorn ready.
Bed bugs? Red bugs?
Not no bed bugs.
Are you thinking
No, they was black bugs. See, y'all gonna make me try to look them up and stuff.
Okay, we're talking about
little beetles, like
blood-sucking
little beetle or
creatures.
something?
Well, let's just use leeches then. Is that better? Everybody know what a leech is.
We're talking about blood-sucking creatures, and I cannot get that cheesy joke out of my head about politics. Poly meaning many and tick meaning blood-sucking creatures.
Okay. So, who is this now? Wait a minute. Who said this? Oh.
Chiggers. Ooh, I've experienced those. Those are nasty.
Okay. I'm a city boy.
Yeah, I have one.
I'm a city boy, so I'm gonna let y'all have it. But anyway, let's talk about leeches. The things that get on your skin is hard to get off and stuff. You know, any candidate, whether you are a school board candidate, as Ed would say, a dog catcher, whatever. If you can't stand on your own,
yeah,
maybe you shouldn't be running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you got a lynch on to somebody, maybe you shouldn't be running. That's why I tell them when I go across state, stop making blacks a hot commodity, because we're not a hot commodity. We're just Americans, just like everybody else. You know, find out what's in us. Find out our character. Find out if we're walking in integrity. Do a homework on us. I beg people to do homework. Please do the homework. Because if you do the homework, then you will know what type of person you're dealing with. You have to do homework. Women already start to seek out men and checking their credit scores even before they date them now. You know, do your homework on these politicians. You know, I mean, we have to get to that place where we got someone that we should never go back to lesser of two evils. We should never have to do that.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Well, and you think about it, I mean, taking that even one step further, I remember in college, when I was just kind of coming into my own in my faith, and a friend of mine was kind of a mentor to me. And one of the questions that she challenged me with was, Sarah, are you hanging on your parents' coattails of faith, or are you practicing your own? Because I would always come up with, well, my parents said this, right? And and it was just it really stopped me short. It was like, do I actually believe this stuff? And am I going to live in integrity with it, with what I believe, or am I going to continue to borrow other people's faith in order to make it mine, right? And I think it's the same thing. It really, when you see somebody without integrity in like in the public sphere, and yet they claim to be a Christ follower, you start wondering, okay, are they really? Because are they like, if they're willing to borrow other people's glory for their own in public, then what is their private faith walk like? Are they just taking what the preacher says and going, okay, well, that's what I believe, without ever being able to give an answer for the reason for the hope that they have, right? I mean, like, we are all called to be able to give a reason for the hope that we have. And I feel like so many people in the Christian faith nowadays do not know how to do that. We don't have the discipleship in many churches where they're challenging you. Do you actually believe this? Or are you just spouting off bullet point talking points from that your pastor preached to you on Sunday morning, you know?
Yeah.
And I just think those two things really, to me, are you cannot separate those out. If I see you living in public with a lack of integrity, I'm going to question everything about you, including your faith.
Yep.
Yeah, as you're saying that, Sarah, since I'm doing this on my phone, I'm seeing all my notifications come across, and one of my chat groups that just came across I don't know what they're talking about, probably interesting, but they came across, and the verse came across, be slow to speak, right? I mean, how often you can even, last night, right? Take it to last night, quick to get out there riding coattails, be slow to speak. It's not your glory to have. It wasn't your announcement. You had nothing to do with it. Be slow to speak about that.
Yep.
Or if you're going to speak, be supportive and leave yourself out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things about me that in the Bible, when you talk about integrity and character, right, is Joseph. Now, Joseph had an opportunity to sleep with his master's wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
He had an opportunity, he didn't take it. And he didn't take it not because he was afraid of his master, because he could have slept with her and his master would have never known.
Yeah.
The only reason the master found out was because he wouldn't sleep with her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but the Bible says, and as I've been studying it, and it never popped out at me until this time. And it says this: Joseph said he did not want to sin against God.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with his master, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to sin against God. Can you imagine if all the politicians who say they belong to God would say, you know what, I can't do that because I will sin against God?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine what kind of country we living in?
Yeah. It would be amazing.
Yes, it would.
Right? As believers, when we make a decision, whether we in office or running for office, we have to ask ourselves, I got to do this, but I don't want to sin against God. right?
Mhm.
For example, somebody gave me today some information about one of my opponents. And that information is so powerful that if I drop that bomb, they out the race. But I will not do that because I can pick them off without dropping a bomb and destroying lives.
Right.
So I was like, nope, I can't use it. I can't use it. Now, if you would have caught me 20-some years ago, I would have dropped that bomb so fast. But the moment you give your life to God, you don't operate like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, even though I'm going against them, I'm not out to destroy anybody.
Right.
You know, and what they gave me, if I used it, it would be, oh my God, for real. But I'm not that type of person, you know, and I had to call some of my accountability people, say, man, look, I got this, and you know, I don't know about this one, right? And they like, well, if you don't know, then you ain't got no business with it. You ain't got no business using it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it because why? My job is to be that light. I can't turn my light off, drop the bomb, and then turn the light back on and say hallelujah. No, it don't work like that, you know. So even in dirty politics or in politics, period, the Bible says that the kingdom of heaven is like yeast that you put in the dough, that a woman put in the dough, right? Yeah. So what he's saying is, dough never take over yeast. Yeast always take over dough. So politics shouldn't take over us and make us be like the nasty politics. We're supposed to take over it and clean it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know, so when you know when I saw his post on last night, I started. I'm telling y'all, and Adrienne to tell y'all, I was about to do a show last night. I'm like, I was like, no.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I said, no, he didn't. Oh no, it's on now. And then I was like, nope, because if I'd have did a show last night, I would have operated in emotions.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I keep looking down because I've got my puppy at my feet and I don't want to smash her tail. Oh. she's like right up against my chair, and I'm really just afraid I'm gonna move and smash her tail. So that's why I look like I'm squirming.
Well, yeah, Stacey, I don't bake.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I got an inbox. No, it's not wrong that we talked about the book. It's out there. You put it out there. 007. 007.
Oh. Yeah, you look for it. It's out there.
It's out there.
You just can't buy it anywhere.
Right. It's not where that's not the bomb I'm talking about. The bomb I'm talking about will really, really does something to somebody. And I got it last night. And so, you know, I'm a type of person, no, I'm not gonna, but the 007 book is out there. All you gotta do is look it up. 007. I mean,
did he also write a book about asthma? Like, because I found okay. So it was the same author. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, same author.
Yeah,
same author. But yeah,
and again,
you know, but the thing about it is this: we all got a pass.
Yeah.
We all. None of us was born with the Holy Ghost. None of us was born perfect. Yeah. So we all got a pass. My problem is, it's not about anybody past. Yeah. It's the future. It's what you're saying now. It's what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was up in Westby, and they wanted to know my whole life. So I told them how God took me off a bridge in 92. I was standing on bridge ready to go. And the guy was like, tell me more. I want to know you, not the candidate. I want to know you. Mm-hmm. So I told him my whole life. I'm saying this, and I told him in front of the crowd. I told the whole crowd, this is where I come from. This is who I am. Why? Because of the fact that I am not ashamed of where God brought me from.
Yes, amen.
And here's the thing. If you don't share where God brought you from, the devil going to make somebody share it if you're ashamed of it.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's somebody's. Oh, I'm trying to remember who. Oh, I don't know if you guys watch Bill Whittle at all. He's a kind of a political pundit. He's got a really great show. He deals with a lot of what's going on in the world. But one day he was talking about the need for an unimpeachable character to run for office, and he was talking, and that it just struck me, that word. It doesn't mean you don't have a past, or you don't that you're perfect, that nobody can find any dirt on you. It's that your character is the same in private as it is in public, and you own your mistakes, you own it up front, and you don't prevaricate around it or try to wash it under a rug or anything like that. And so this idea that when you stand before the judge and jury, who are, your peers who are watching you, and they can look at you and say, okay, we don't have anything on him. We cannot find anything on him, even though there might be stuff in the past that they could use, but they can't because of the character of this person. They are that whole concept of integrity. It's and I just that word just struck me for some reason, unimpeachable, because we've had so much of that recently, like, oh, we're going to impeach you for this. But that idea of, it does not mean that you are perfect. It does not mean that you will never make mistakes, or that you haven't made mistakes.
Hold on. The thing about it is this. This, y'all know that's Ed, right? So the thing about, and the reason, let's see, I'm not sure. I am not the same in public as I am online. It's worse in public. Who is that? Let me see who that is.
Is it? Is it?
So much work. Ask me. That's Ed, you guys.
That's funny.
But the thing about it, if you notice one thing about it, the problem, and like you say, the past or our character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, he needs to ask. Oh, okay, Ed. We already know. But watch this, because this is the problem I have, and it's not really a problem per se, but listen to the description of the book.
Mm-hmm.
and the reason because the reason I'm saying that, it lines up with his character today. If you think about it, listen to it. It says, I truly believe that there is some, wait a minute, pull it back up. There's someone special out there for every man. However, we men sometimes feel very awkward approaching and conversating with a woman. Hi, my name is Jonathan Wickman, author of this book. Inside, I will teach you how to develop yourself into a lean and mean dating machine. I will give you the tools and concept to successfully approaching, receiving phone number, first call, first phone call, first date, first kiss, and right up to sex. This book walks you through the development stage that you need to be successful with women. My material works for all types of men. Women are led by their hearts and emotion. What did I tell y'all we got to stop operating on?
Oh, Lord.
Emotion.
Yeah.
Emotions. So if he's telling men back then, I'm going to show you how to mess with their emotions, and you now up here doing the same thing, trying to mess with people's emotions. Oh, you so selfish, and you messing with emotions. You're not walking in integrity. So the same stuff that he wrote I think this was 2007, 2008, is the same thing that you're doing now.
If my husband had pulled that trick on me, we wouldn't be married right now.
Amen.
Okay, I'm sorry. My husband is the most integrity-driven man that I know in the world. He's the first man that I have ever trusted with anything. in my life. And I will tell you that we were engaged and married in 8 months, because the first date he asked on our way up to meet my parents for the first time, he told me every dirty, dark little secret that he had every sin that he'd committed, everything. And then he goes, do you want me to drive you home? That was our first date. I said, nope, I'm all in. Let's go.
But you know what? I tell you what, if you talk to my wife, she would tell you that the moment, even before we started dating, she said, tell me about you. And everything came out of my mouth, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm sitting there like, why am I telling this woman everything? Everything came out. Everything came out of my mouth. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, what? So I'm sitting there like, oh my God, what is going on here? But I'm telling everything. But you know what? It was worth it, because when we had to deal with certain things, it was like, I already know. I already know. Try something else. I already know. See, that's why I say, if you expose yourself, the enemy has nothing.
Yep. Exactly.
But when we are individuals that if we move our emotion, that's why I say move the emotion out the way and do your research.
Yep.
Always ask the questions.
Yep. You can't. The enemy can't expose something.
I think somebody flirting on here. Somebody flirting. Somebody flirting right now.
Yeah, right.
See, my husband had no secrets to share. I was the one who had to do the, pouring out of my heart.
But that goes like we said, character. Whatever you were, and how it comes up. So if you in your past you're talking about manipulating, and then now you're in the political arena and you're doing the same stuff, that's who you really are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't judge. I mean, we're told we can't judge people based on their past, but the issue is not their past, but what is their behavior now? Is there a pattern that has been broken from their past, or is that pattern still the same as today? And that's really the thing that we have to look for in candidates. What does their past look like? Because then I can measure it up against what their present is. And if their present looks exactly like their past, then they don't have the right to earn your trust.
Right.
You know why I love taking my wife with me on the campaign trail? Not because I'm lonely. I just love her anyway. But the reason I take her is this, and I tell people this all the time. I say, listen, if you want to know if a person is really living the life that they're claiming, have their mate there or their children there. So when they are speaking, don't look at them, look at their family.
Yep.
That family will tell.
Oh, yeah.
That family will be like, they lying.
Yep. So you can see it in their face. They're like, oh, gosh, I'm embarrassed.
That's why I love my wife there, because I love when people look in her face when I'm talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because she lights up. She encouraged me. I'll be like, ooh, yeah, baby. How did I do? But it's you got. That's why I love taking her, because it's not a show. This is how we are in church. This is how we are in a restaurant. Yep. This is how we are in the house. This is how we are. No matter where we at, out of state, this is how we are. And so, and so when it's so natural to us, I think I forgot who it was. One of the ladies, Kelly, it was Kelly. Kelly saw the show where I said I buy her roses and I don't put them in the vase. I just put them on the kitchen table. And when she go in the kitchen or on the counter, so when she go in the kitchen, she see them and she get excited, right? So they was sitting at the table at an event. I think we was at my fundraiser. And Kelly said to her, yeah, I heard he bring you flowers. She said, yeah, he does. And he just brought me some today too. I'm always, because this is, you have to be that way. So not only with your spouse, but with everybody, and I don't do it to to win people over, I tell them this is what you get, whether you like it or not. This is what you get. If you don't like me, you at least respect me for being who I am.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So I'm finna put the whole picture frame on you, Ryan, and we want you to talk about your race for a minute.
All right. Yeah, what is it? 5 weeks now from that spring election. I think doing what I do, hitting doors, talking to people, just trying. There's been, I guess, a little fireworks around here lately. Just trying to try and be as integrous as possible. I guess when the as we were just talking about, right? Things are flying. You encountered some interesting people today, and one I said, look, I'm not. I am what I am, right? This is what I stand for. We're not necessarily going to agree. I think I'd still like if you took a look at me. I think there's some things we can agree on, and I think in your heart you probably think that needs to be made, but whether they vote for me or not, I don't know. But I think it's just at this point closing things out strong, right? We're trying to raise some money for those last bits of things like signs and literature materials just to get the word out. Really, it's going to come up quick. So I'll plug my site too, since Adam did. Ryan Mueller for BASD.com. So go there if we're still looking for some folks in the area to do some lift drops for us. We're trying to keep it to a minimum per person this time around. Aaron and I I think we're going to we got a lot of the same volunteers, so we're coordinate that, and we're going to and like I said, looking for donations. So hit the volunteer button, hit the donate button there. We'll truly appreciate it.
All right. And this is what we have to do. We have to reach out. And here's the thing about it. Everybody needs to be honest. I don't care how much I love my wife. I don't care how much Adrienne loved Aaron. I don't care how much Sarah loved
It's
Jay.
a lot. It's a lot.
Right. It's a lot. Yeah. I was just going to say
that. and Ryan love his wife. None of us agree on everything all the time.
Yep.
Nope.
Very true.
So when the candidates come up to you like Ryan and Aaron, and you might not agree with them on everything, but if you're concerned about your children, that's the main thing right there.
Yep.
Do I care about my children's education? Do I want to see something better for my children? If the answer is yes, forget about the other stuff.
Yep.
Forget about the other stuff. But if I care about my kids' education, and if I feel that that I can work with you, everybody that we work with, we didn't agree on everything, but we did have to get a job done. So if I can work with you, then that's what we need to do. We got to stop this because the person that loses is our children. When we sit around and we just hold dumb grudges or I didn't agree with you because you like the color blue and I like the color red. So no, I'm not going to agree with you on my children. So you rather your children suffer because of one thing y'all don't agree on.
Yep.
Right.
We have to do some things better. Oh Lord, I ain't even gonna mess with that. Miss Johnson. I just saw your inbox. Really? So you guys, we really have to. We got to start winging folks out, and we got to start calling it what it is, a spade. We got to, we got to begin to. Now, if he go on his post and apologize, that would show integrity. Wait, hold up.
I can't. Okay, I cannot watch the State of the Union without commentary from like Louder with Crowder or one of those other like comedians who can help me work through it without drinking.
Oh no.
I don't know if people watch it just to get the bloopers and so they can have something to talk about, or if they watch it because they really want to hear what he got to say, or if they watching it hoping the teleprompter breaks and then now he's stuck.
Okay, I come on, we have to take out the option number 2 because seriously, I mean, if you really are wanting to listen to Joe Biden to hear what he has to say, you are just as insanely crazy as he is, because you can't understand a word he says. So it's like listening to a completely foreign language that you have never even heard in your life.
And you know, when you I don't know which one is more boring, him or Evers.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing about it is, like Ryan said, earlier, it's our fault. Evers destroyed our education system, and we made him governor.
Are all of these still Ed talking? Because the
Let me
last
see.
one is hilarious. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Which one is this?
You should have followed my to the comment.
That one is Ed.
Okay, the Evers was actually a live one, though. That one makes me laugh.
That was as also Ed.
Thank you, Ed. You're making me feel very happy tonight.
You know, it's funny, but it's also sad us to really think that these guys was going to lead us to what? To the slaughter?
Yeah.
To allow these guys to say we want you to govern us? What do you say?
Sign. I think that means sigh. Fine, bring me on.
All right, hold on. Oh, wait a minute.
We should have just done a video like commentary of the State of the Union address. That would have been fun.
I know, right? I gotta do it this way.
Yes, I am a grammar Nazi. Sorry, Ed. I'm a homeschool mom. Give me a break.
Our 15-year-old is our grammar Nazi. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure.
My wife is mine. She gets me all the time. So let's see what I think he's coming. Where he at? Hold on. There he is. And there he is.
Trying to get my green screen here, but clearly it doesn't want to play well with me. All right. There we go. We got something.
Oh, nice.
Wait a minute. Are you using bricks see, I knew you was part of Fatifa. You got bricks.
Yeah, the only difference between me and Antifa, though, Antifa just leaves them laying around. I was like productive enough to make a wall.
Build a wall.
Right, because I just make a wall. Because I just wanted to feel. I just missed the glory days of 2017 to January of 21. I miss it.
Oh my gosh.
This is Celine.
Oh, nobody talk. No, nobody talk. I need to take in this puppy goodness. Oh, I have a psychotic puppy. Well, she's about 2 years old, and she's a little teddy bear dog, so she's psychotic. Napoleon complex, the whole thing. And then I have a Rottweiler who's like the biggest 110-pound baby, who's like, if you don't pet him, he looks at you like you owe him money. And it's the funniest thing in the world. And I just look at him. I'm like, what's your problem? He's like, I don't know why you're not petting me. I'm like, all right, I'm messing with you.
Yeah. Well, that one is sleeping at my feet still. She's about 4 years old, and she's that, like, she literally will come up to me and knock my hand until I start petting her.
Oh, that is just such cuteness, though.
Uh-huh.
I like puppies better than I like people, but that's another story.
Me too. Me too.
So now we finna put you on the hot seat, sir.
Go for it. I shy away from controversy.
Bring it on.
You made a comment. Let me find that comment.
I make lots of comments.
I know, but
especially today.
There's a certain one that I want to.
There's some really good information today.
I know, right?
It's a loaded day. It's like one of those days I was supposed to do a podcast today. I'm like, no, I'm going to do a State of the Union. Let that roll, because you don't compete against that. I'll do it tomorrow. And then as I'm doing this, I'm typing on the side. I'm like, man, I'm just going to go live next time. I'm going to have 4 people on, and we're just going to be clowning the whole time.
Okay, explain that one right there.
Oh, you mean Mr. 007?
Oh, 007.
All right, let me break it down like this. First, I need to do a disclaimer. 1, I never talk about what I do professionally. What I do professionally is outside of what I do here. 2, I was just recently elected to be the vice chair of the Waushara County Republican Party, and I am not acting in that capacity. When I do a podcast, this is just me, my opinion, what I do. I know some people like to try to say, well, no, you can't separate the two. Shut up. I separate the two. I wear different hats. That's just the bottom line. Don't like it, too bad. I'm not endorsing any one particular person. I probably have given one endorsement out, and that's because, let's face it, the guy's good. But when I look at everybody running through the race and all these races, governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state in particular, all the various county boards, school boards, not endorsing. I want to foster the conversation.
Yep.
But I'll tell you this much. While I'm not endorsing somebody, I will definitely speak out against somebody. And I've met Mr. Wickman, and he's a nice enough guy. My first initial impression was a very negative one, though. I will state that. I have a problem with people that come in like if they're the smartest person in the room. Yep. I get that there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. I often find myself straddling and oftentimes crossing that line. And I've been accused of that many, many times. Rightfully so in some cases and not so much in others. But this whole thing, to kind of put a big point on it, you don't spend the last year and a half campaigning that you're the best person and nobody else can do better. Yep. And then all of a sudden drop out of the race. You don't go onto a podcast the week before and claim, how great you are and, nobody else is better and you're the first person and, stay here and wonder why people aren't giving you airtime or taking you seriously or anything else. And then, all of a sudden you dip out, let's call it for what it is. I've met Jonathan a number of times. I've met Justin a number of times. Justin as a person. I like him. Mm-hmm. Justin Smicka, Badger State Resistance. However, I will make this very clear that they gassed up Timothy Rantham so much and propped him up on their podcast, on social media and everything else. I think they made a miscalculation in that, they didn't think Timothy was going to necessarily go into the governor's race. All of a sudden, he jumps into the governor's race. Michael Flynn ends up endorsing him, who had previously endorsed Jonathan Wickman. Jonathan Wickman now has no choice but to drop out of the race. Yeah. I'm sorry. The problem I have with Wickman in particular, anybody associated with him, to me, is suspect. And that's a problem. You have people there are so many people that are true believers, sycophants, if you will, that they're actually rationalizing this jump from governor to lieutenant governor.
Yes.
No, never mind the fact that they were going out here touting the whole governor's race for him, the week before. Yep. How do you rationalize that? That is garbage. And the worst part about this here, I hear a lot of people yelling that word rhino. And I swear to God, the next person that uses it, I'm calling them out.
Rhino.
Because the next time, yeah. But see, there are rhinos in this race. And again, I'm not picking anybody, but if you look at the lieutenant governor's race as it stands right now, there are no rhinos. The 4 that are in right now, there are no rhinos. A lot of people say, well, Rebecca's a rhino. Well, you just mad because you weren't lieutenant governor at
Wait a
one
minute.
point.
You saying lieutenant governor or the governor?
Governor's race.
Okay.
Governor's race. But what are rhinos are libertarians pretending to be Republicans because they don't have the strength of character to run as an independent or as a libertarian in their own races. So you decide you're going to come over here to the best vehicle possible, and then you're going to stoke fire and division amongst the base. And that's the most interesting part right there. Why aren't people people talking about me? Well, truth of the matter is that you're causing division, and more importantly, nobody outside Facebook knows who you are. And that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. There's this conflation, this idea that somehow, I got 60,000 followers. That's great. 60,000 followers, and 50,000 probably don't even see your post. Another 5,000 probably ignore them. So you got maybe 5,000 people, that interact with you at some level. But in the reality of it, nobody outside your county knows your name. They don't know who you are. And honestly, a lot of the issues that you're talking about mean nothing to them. But that's just my take. I don't know anything. I just go on diatribes.
Well, and the reason we brought it up and we talked about integrity and everything is he crashed an announcement and he took pictures and everything, and then he went back home while everybody was still there at the announcement and talking and encouraging Adam and telling Adam to move forward and all of that and all of that, right? He's at home making an announcement on Facebook like he had the event.
Yeah.
Like and then he said, we had a surprise visitor. What he didn't know was Timothy Rafton was already invited. It wasn't a surprise that he just happened to pop up there. He was invited to that event. And so,
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
No. So what ended up happening is you came only because you knew Timothy. If Timothy wouldn't have showed up, he wouldn't have been there. But he came there and he just took it like it was his event. And then he put it on Facebook to make it look like those 3 are running together.
Well, and that was the funny part because, so I saw the pictures getting posted last night. Everybody's talking about how, what's the gentleman's name? Adam?
Yeah.
Adam's running against Robin Voss. I'm over here like, good luck with that one. That's a tall mountain. Good luck. I don't have an opinion on Robin Voss one way or the other. I think there's questions that need to be answered, no doubt. But the thing was, I saw pictures of him and Wickman, and I'm over here like, oh, okay, that puts you in the suspect category right there, because I've seen what Wickman has done over the last year or so. I've seen when he's tried to put a slate together of people, and I've seen the division that it's stoked amongst people.
Well,
and I don't like it.
Let me jump in real quick. And
yes, sir.
I'm gonna put I'm gonna speak on the behalf of Adam on this one. Adam had nothing to do with it. He did not know Whitman was coming. He did not know. He's not nowhere connected to Whitman. That's why I said deception, because he made people think that these people are with him. That's just like him endorsing Tim Rafton this morning.
I saw it. Oh my God.
So now you're endorsing Tim Rafton, thinking that it's going to be everybody hollering, oh, Tim Rafton and Jonathan Wickman, oh, it sounds so good. And then Badger State Resistance gets on there, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that ever hit Earth. Shut the F up.
Well, I saw that too, and I'm over here like, okay, so that's what you're doing. Now, I'm not Timothy Rafton's biggest fan. When he did the announcement and stuff, I thought it was well attended. I will say this. I love the way he gave his presentation. It was measured. It was on point. He talked to the issues that he was good at. But to me, he came across as a one-trick pony. Now we can sit here and have that discussion. I want that discussion. Actually, I'd love to have the discussion with Tim.
Who just made that comment?
That was me, Ed.
No, that's hubby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's my hubby.
Yeah, that's your hubby.
Yeah.
What happened? He was popping up before he went into incognito mode.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm not Timothy's biggest fan. Like I say, he comes across to me as a one-trick pony. And I get it. Election integrity is the most important thing. During that particular event, the biggest issue I got there is that how do you speak for an hour and you condense 9 planks of your platform into like 10 minutes? You're glossing over that. But we can have that discussion. That's fine, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's a rhino or he's this or that or whatever. I think it's funny because when people are just throwing this out here, but with Wickman, to me, it is literally the epitome of a rhino. It is Republican in name only, except it's not, I'm a fake Republican, as in I've been here, I'm working with the Democrats, we're part of the Uniparty. It is, like I said earlier, it is a libertarian running as a Republican because there's no way in hell he can run against other libertarians and win. At Joan Ellis Beglinger. Love that woman. If you didn't get to see my interview with her, you should, because she's a very competent, well-spoken, and principled person and conservative. She doesn't like the Republican Party. Okay, cool. She at least has the courage of her convictions to run as an independent.
Mm-hmm.
So don't sit here and bash a thing, and don't sit here and talk about tear the whole thing down. I have been one of the biggest critics of the Republican Party as a whole, and I have been like that for years. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm not trying to tear it down. I want to build it up and make it stronger. Weak, feckless, a speed bump is not part of the program anymore, at least from my perspective. David, I'm sorry. I'm over here taking over. Please. Go back.
No, I wanted you to run your chops for a minute, because the thing about it is this. I'm not out. I told you at where was we at? Marshfield? Was it Marshfield?
Wausau.
I told you I was taking the gloves off.
Mm-hmm.
I said now it's off. But when I take the glove off, I'm only challenging them on what they have already done. I'm not spreading mud. I'm only, if you telling me this is who you are, then I'm going to challenge you on who you say you are, just like I hope you challenge me on who I say I am. Because if I'm saying I'm one thing and I'm doing another, somebody pull my coattail, because I want to be that person that walk in integrity, period. And so when I saw what I saw last night, for if I was a person, Ed, that I was before I met God, and he would have showed up in something like that, salt and battery, whatever you might want to call it, but to come in and take over and make it about you, that's the problem. Ryan was there, Aaron was there, I was there, Tony was there, all of us candidates. We all was there, and we said, this is not about us tonight. This is about Adam tonight.
Well, it should have been about Adam, because, I mean, and this is where, people got to be careful, because, you go outside of Robin Voss's district, and, Robin Voss is the punching bag for everybody. And that's why I say, for individuals that want to bring up Robin Voss, it's like, oh, that's low-hanging fruit. That's amateur level. Every time you bring up Robin Voss, it's like, are you serious? It's different, I think, when you bring it up in the context of, the subpoenas, what were you doing in 2020, things like that. I get it. There is room for criticism, but literally it has become a dog whistle, and it is one of the most pathetic arguments that I've seen out there for people. Bring it to his district and then see if the people within the district feel the same way. And then more importantly, what's that?
I'm in his district.
Well, you are one of how many that live in his district. But my point simply is, when I hear people say, get him out of the assembly, speaker, fine. Then pressure your assemblyman. And then again, if you're supportive of Adam, by all means, support him, work for him. Because you know what? it's going to be a huge mountain to climb. And it's not to say that it can't be done. It is just simply to say, you know what, this is the way the process works. You don't like your representative, even though he's, cash rich and whatever. And he's been there for a number of years, whatever, vote him out. But you got to put in the work, knock the doors, get the flyers out, the yard signs, put in the work. But enough with the dog whistle. It's like, oh my God, is this amateur hour at the Palo? Or are we actually trying to, are we going to actually try to do something to save Wisconsin from the overreaching federal government? Because at the crux of this election, that is really what's at stake here.
Right. And the thing about it is this, and I can speak for, I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody else, but the people in his district, as I traveled that district in campaigning for my race, even before Adam announced, are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And for Adam to step up to go against, as we say, the legendary Goliath, I think he has a very good chance of taking him out, just like the people in Jersey were sick and tired of that giant.
But let me stop you there. So that gentleman ran, it was first reported with $153, turned out it was closer to like $2,500, $3,000. I don't think it hit the $3,000 marker. That's an anomaly. That's not something that's going to happen repeatedly.
No. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm saying is this: the people are tired.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just like Robin Voss is just like you living in a town and all you got is a McDonald's. So
I got one. I live in that town.
Okay. So watch this. So McDonald's can treat you any kind of way. The line can be long as long as they want. The dining room can be dirty. The food can be, the fries can be cold.
You've been in my town, haven't you?
But the moment you put a Burger King in there, right? Now you're giving people
competition.
A lot of times when these people are in office, a lot of times there's no other option. Now they got a good option. They got somebody that's a good man, good report, a good character, just like you. You made a statement some months ago that the party in your county was invisible.
That's true.
And you said, I'm going to do something about it. And you got in there and you ended up becoming the vice chair, right?
Yep.
Adam is saying, I'm sick and tired of what's happening in our district. I'm going to do something about it. The good thing about it is, the good thing is he's not just running off of what Voss has done. He's just running period off of it's time for a change. It's time for some fresh.
Now, you guys might be able to answer this here. And Adrienne may be able to answer this more specifically as you live in that district. One of the things that I've been seeing around here is you have a lot of people that, they'll start, kind of getting real riled up about a particular topic. Election integrity, CRT, pick your topic du jour of the day.
Yep.
And when it comes to having these rallies, Lincoln Day dinners and everything, we're talking to the base, and unfortunately the base is much smaller than the overall populace of your local, jurisdiction. Yep. What is the feel of the non-politically initiated person? And what I mean by that is the everyday person that is like, they go to work, they come home, they're tired, they got to deal with their families, and they dread going to, student teacher conferences. They don't get involved in school boards, county boards, none of that stuff, because to them, that seems like we finally got a Culver's. To them, though, I know the feeling. To them, though, everybody here that's speaking tonight, years ago, and I can share this because years ago I felt like, oh man, all these people, they're unattainable, they're unapproachable, I can't approach them. The average person feels that way. What is the vibe that you guys are getting from the average person?
As far as being able to approach who? Sorry, can you
clarify? When I talk about approachability, and I apologize, I the question got lost in my diatribe here, but
well, let me translate it for you. Let me translate.
Yes.
Let me translate. Here's the translation. What are you hearing far as on the streets, the average person? That's
who's not politically initiated.
Yeah, that's not the party. You know, your neighbors.
Regarding Robin Voss and his race,
Yeah, about Robin Voss' race.
I think that people are fed up with him. He has a strong base in Burlington, though, of the good old boy club, you know, the people that he's been in bed with for 30 plus years, none of which happened to be any of the 3 of his wives. He's switched those out quite more frequently than that.
I switched out a wife or 2. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it just doesn't fit, you know. It's like two square Legos that just, you know. I get, you know, I'm just, you know, personal problem.
He's more loyal to his politics than he is to his wives. So, so I mean, like, I think that it's going to be a battle because he has a strong base. He has a strong donation base. He gets a lot of donations from people in Burlington. But there's also a lot of rumble that, you know, people are fed up with him. The people on the street who are talking about the issues are fed up with him. Yeah, but I would agree with what my husband just said, that there are so many people who just don't care about politics at all.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Get out and freaking vote.
Yeah.
Like you have that right. Why are you not?
But how many people don't get out and vote because they don't feel that they're knowledgeable enough?
Right. And you know what? The other thing on the flip side of that is this. Yeah, he's going up against a giant, right?
Yep.
But there's so many people across the state right now who's upset with Voss, right? So
my gosh.
So even though, now here's the thing about it, they can't vote.
Nope.
But they can donate to help him fight that battle.
Yes.
You know, and if he can if Adam can gravitate to those people to be the Air Force to drop in the supplies he needs for that fight, you know, because you got all these people say, oh, I want Voss out. Okay, here's your chance to donate into a campaign that he's going to need that.
What district is Voss in?
63rd.
63. Okay.
Yep.
So
I'm just looking to see what his war chest is like.
Right. So when you look at that, if people are sick and tired and they say they sick and tired, here's their chance to prove it by donating while he working the grounds, because he got to work the grounds.
Well, and didn't we talk about this a little bit earlier about up until 2 years ago, people just were living life and it was just like, okay, well, we have some liberties that have been taken, but we're not really noticing them and we're not noticing the pain of it. Stacy just said this, maybe they're finally feeling the pain. And that really is what it's going to take, is enough people to feel the pain of what is going on, what advantage these representatives are taking over their people, to get enough people to move in a different direction. I mean, isn't that why Trump got into office in the first place? Because people were like, I'm sick of the status quo.
Exactly.
I don't want another politician president in.
Yep.
I want to try something new. And so, yeah, I think it's a long haul and it's a long shot in many ways, but there may very well be enough people who are going to stand up and say, I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I've been living my life up until now, and now I'm forced to get out and make a decision.
Jared has a great point here. He says people seemingly don't vote or fight.
People are going to do anything.
Yep.
And the thing
until it affects them.
And then it's too late. Yep.
It's just plain and simple.
Yeah, and I refer to it as the NIMBY phenomenon, NIMBY, not in my backyard. Right. And it's kind of akin to like what we saw in 2020. You know, everybody saw what happened in Minneapolis. Nobody flinched an eye over here. And I'm kind of like, yo, that's Minneapolis. That's not too far from her. And then, of course, you saw Portland. Portland burned. Seattle burned. Other cities burned. And then all of a sudden, Kenosha. And it was funny because I live about 2.5 hours from Kenosha. And I was talking to friends that were down in the Milwaukee area because you didn't have riots necessarily in Milwaukee, but you had the protests there still.
Mhm.
But everything going on in Kenosha, people in Milwaukee were concerned, they were fearful. And I'm telling them, like, I told y'all this is going to happen, you know, and not that I have any magic, magic 8-ball or anything, but I left Milwaukee because I saw the writing on the wall. I knew something was going to happen. I just didn't know what.
Yep.
But lo and behold, here it was. But, they're like, well, that's Kenosha. It's an hour away. People up here where I'm at, that's Kenosha. Oh, that's 2.5 hours away. And I'm like, yo, if I want to make a statement, you know what I would do? And I really, really am a believer. I'd take the drive 3 hours northbound. I'd find myself a nice, quiet little town, and I would wreak havoc and send a message to let you know you're not safe anywhere. They promised this already, and it's like, you don't worry about this until it's in your backyard.
We're a small town.
You have to give you guys the benefit of the doubt too, though. Ain't no coming up where you at and where Jared at and all of that. Ain't no clean getaway coming out there. You're not even gonna get close to the house, So you'll be like, only an idiot would try to come out there and holler anything and try to burn anything on y'all land. I mean, because
that's true to a certain point, but I will point this out. Wapaka is a town that's probably about 20 to 25 minutes north of me. BLM protests up there.
Yep.
Neshgoro. It's a town that's about 15 minutes from me. Somebody hit that food pantry, just destroyed everything. And they had the video, and I saw the video. Some black guys in there. There ain't no black guys around Neshgoro. I'm just going to be 100%. It's like, what, 3 black guys around here? I'm like the only Puerto Rican within like a 5-mile radius. So I'm just going to keep it 100%. Like I can't commit a crime around here because, you don't find too many like 6 foot, 285-pound Puerto Ricans running around here in the lime green Kia. I'm just saying. You'll find me from the ISS. I'm going to keep that 100%. But the point is that it's up here.
Yeah.
Just not to that level.
Well, we're a tiny little town on the west side of the state. We're, Black River Falls, it's small, and we still had the threat. We had some high school kids who were planning a rally. It was supposed to be a peaceful protest, and along with the BLM stuff. And our town was on high alert for the weekend because we knew that there were people outside who were just trying to hijack it. And so we had cops everywhere and everything. It's a small town. You don't expect something from a small town like that, but the right people get wind of it and they're gonna wreak havoc.
Yeah,
we had the same thing over here, and it was funny because somebody asked the sheriff, like, yo, what happens if something like that happens over here? And he's like, well, y'all got guns. Call me when you're done.
Exactly. That's
we need a sheriff like that here.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. They might come.
Yeah.
But somebody gonna be an example for coming up that way.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. My house is locked up, not for my protection. It's for whoever try to come in protected.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do what I got to do to protect my family.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you walk in, you're carried out. That's
you don't get carried out of my house. You don't get carried out. I got dogs.
I got
dogs.
You got that big dog over there. So they got dinner.
And I got a Rottweiler who I think his stomach has a pocket dimension in it, and he just eats and eats and oh my God. I told you guys what you see online versus what you get in person, it gets worse. It gets so much worse.
It definitely get worse. But the thing, if we go back, for a second, because I really believe that there's enough people across the state and in each district that is sick and tired right now.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is have a conversation with them. I'm in Milwaukee and I'm having a conversation with Democrats. And Democrats are now vowing to vote for me in August because they're sick and tired of both sides. So I think if you have that conversation, there's a lot of people that just sick and tired. It's not about right now. It's not about Democrat or Republican to most of the people. It's about the individual right now. And if you can build that relationship and have those conversations, and then you got people watching you that you don't even know watching you. I was at the event last night and a lady came up to me and she says, I finally get to meet you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, I follow you. I watch you.
Right.
And I'm sitting there like, really? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I was about to introduce myself and she coming to me. Hey, it's finally nice to meet you. And I'm sitting there
Is that the trip when that happens?
Yeah.
That is wild.
And they watch
I had somebody come up to me. In Wausau, and they just came up to me, put their arm around me, took a picture, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know."
Who are you?
What do you say to that? Like, I'm like, you guys know I do this out of a studio in my basement, right? I mean, like, I'm not special. Like,
right. But
I'm kind of a D. I'm just being honest here.
But that's how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be able to follow us. And then when they see us in person, they realize we're still that same person because they follow me not just on the rallies. They follow me when I'm preaching on Saturdays. They follow me when I do my Think About It Tuesdays. They following and they're listening and they realize that the same message is going on no matter what. And that's what we need. We need a handful. We don't need the majority. We just need a handful of people that is willing to walk in integrity, and that'll make other people walk in integrity.
Yep.
Let me ask this question, because I had a bit of an epiphany on Sunday. So Sunday we had our Lincoln Day dinner, and it was great because we had 21 speakers. 21.
That's awesome.
It was nuts. Like I was like, it's like, man, at some point I'm gonna sit down because I don't like to sit down. Like I felt bad for my wife and my son because like they're sitting down, chilling. They were talking to Senator Joan Baldwin, just having a good time. But I'm over here like trying to like mingle with everybody, talking with folks and stuff. Kevin Nicholson came up, shaking hands. Great guy, I like him. Rebecca Clayfish's surrogate was there. Kyle got a chance to talk to him. Great guy. But I'm listening to some of the speakers. And it's an interesting phenomenon because a lot of people, you take a look at Congress, the Assembly, whatever, and we'll take Robin Vos out of the equation here for this particular discussion. But everybody seems to like their representatives, but they don't have a very high opinion on the legislative bodies. And I have to wonder how many people actually talk to and or listen to their representatives. Because my state representative is a gentleman by the name of Kevin Peterson. He's not a very dynamic person. He's not the most motivating speaker in the world, but he's a numbers person. And if you have a bit of knowledge on some of that stuff, it's like, he blew me away. Joan Baldwin, my state senator. I'm listening to her and she's, basically, and it was funny because she's not running for re-election this year. And it was kind of interesting because what she was saying was, and she was reading an article from I think it's the Wall Street Journal, saying that Wisconsin has the possibility to screw this up and miss out on the red wave. And she's out there, she's being motivating and everything. And I'm like, how many people have actually gotten the time to listen to or speak to the representatives? And to the flip side of this, how many of the representatives are making themselves available to be spoken to? And I don't mean yelled at. I don't mean shouted down. I mean actually having a conversation.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, so on one side, I'm a homeschooling mom of 5. And we have 1 vehicle. So getting over to Madison is a very difficult trip for us. We have to, get my husband to take off work and all of those things. And so getting to go to the other side of the state to actually talk to our representatives is a big deal. And I've had the opportunity to on rare occasions.
May I ask real quick, and I apologize for interrupting, but may I ask, does your representative or state senator have a local office?
Yes. So that's part of the reason why I got involved in our county party, because we have events all the time. And so they come over our way. And that has been very helpful because I get to, in a sense, hobnob with them on a pretty regular basis. And, it's frustrating at the same time, though, because the county parties, when they do events, there's a bit of pandering that goes on with the representatives.
Yes.
We want to keep them all happy, and so we give them equal amount of time, and on occasion we've had them take questions, but usually they'll come with pre-made questions that they'll answer. Yeah. So it gets frustrating because I want to actually, like, when I talked to David King, and my first thing was, do you even know what kind of a government our founders started, and those types of things, because I want to know, do you know your Constitution? Do you know how this country is supposed to be run? Do you know what your job is, who you represent, and all of those things? And it's very difficult to get them on those types of questions because they usually come with pre-prepared questions that they're willing to answer. I have, with Ron Johnson, he's in our district. I have actually gone toe to toe with him on the vaccine mandates. This was before COVID. He was all for mandates. And he cited his daughter's a nurse, and and vaccines save lives and all of these things. And now all of a sudden COVID vaccines come, and he's fully against mandates. So I actually confronted him, and he'd like literally just shot me down. And I'm sitting there with my children as an RN saying, this is something that concerns me because I've seen the ingredients lists on these things, right?
Yep.
And he just kind of like swat a fly away, So
well, it was interesting. That's interesting considering he was the biggest proponent of the right to try bill.
I know exactly. So this is where that integrity thing comes in.
Right. That was the whole thing,
about like red flag gun laws and things like that. So all of these things, it was like, okay, so now that I get to talk with them on a regular basis, I get to see, okay, you're not standing in integrity because this answer is different than what I'm seeing now. So, we've got a bunch of people in our district who are like, oh, thank you, Ron Johnson, for standing up for us. I'm like, he should have been doing that years ago. And years ago, he was all for the mandates. So, yeah, it's really difficult to...
Right.
Well, that brings up another phenomenon, too, because if you remember when Trump was in office, everybody's talking about, oh, I'm looking forward to the vaccine. And Kamala Harris, if it's under Trump, I'm not taking it.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Biden ends up going in office.
Now it's
want 3 vaccines.
Yeah.
Like they're collecting vaccines like they're infinity stones. And like everybody on the right's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I think that when it comes to elected officials, I think some of them are sincere. I talk to a lot of them, and some of them are really, really sincere. They really want to do what's right. And I shared with one, and I said, the moment I win the lieutenant governor seat, and after I put my eagles up and my lions in my office, I'm gonna call a 3-day fast. And after that,
David and his lions.
You know it. I
love it.
And I said, after I called a 3-day fast, on that third day, I'm going to call everybody to the rotunda, and we're going to pray, and we're going to ask God to forgive us so we can make him Lord of our nation again. And this state representative says, I'm definitely going to be there for that. Now, he already in office, and he can do it, but he's not. He's not the leader right now. He's not he wants to do right, but he's how should I say in that fog where he cannot be who he really want to be, that he has to
waiting for somebody else to step up and take the reins.
Right. Because he was like, oh my God, I would love to do that for God. And I'm sitting there like, okay, you can. And so when you have some people that really, really, really wants to do right, right? They just don't have enough help for them to do right.
Yeah. And I mean I think that's part of that concept of courage and integrity is sometimes, unfortunately, the first person who sits down when everybody's clapping for Stalin is the one who gets shot, you know? But if everybody sat down, he can't shoot them all.
Yep.
You know?
And you know, there's a book out by Robert Brown, who was in the cabinet of Nixon, first term, not the second term, the first term.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book that's called "You Can't Go Wrong by Doing Right." And the thing that I love about it is he was hated for doing right. The blacks was hating on him because he was with Nixon, but by him being with Nixon, they was getting what they needed. Okay. And then the other side hated him because he was black. But you know, he and the blacks hated him, didn't like him so much to the fact where the NAACP. Oh,
you know that's one of the biggest sports we have, right?
Huh?
You know that's one of the biggest sports we have as minorities. What? There's a sport out there. It's more popular than the NFL. It's more popular than Major League Baseball. It's more popular than dice. It's tearing each other down. Whenever you have one successful person coming up, you have to tear them down. It's a sport, and we do it better than anybody else.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but let's just be real about it.
Yeah.
And you know,
I mean, how many campaigns have I immediately tune out when the candidate is bashing the other side, and that's what they're standing on, is they're just I hate this other candidate. It that immediately shuts me down, because I'm like, I don't care what you feel about the other candidate. I want to know what your character is. I want to know if you're going to be representing my values when you get into office. And I don't care if you hate the other candidate's guts. That doesn't matter to me.
Well, what do you bring to the table? I mean,
exactly.
I think, who are the two, obviously David's running. Ryan, you're running for a board, right? If I remember correctly.
Running for school board.
Right.
Yep, school board in Burlington. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing is, what do you bring to the table? The hate and discontent. It's one thing to point out the problems. We all do that.
Yep.
But it's like, what are you bringing to the table? That's the big thing.
Exactly.
And
run for something, not against something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you take a look at this last election. I mean, look how many people voted against Trump. Not so much for Biden. They voted against Trump. And there's a number of factors involved in that. I think a lot of it was, media was just orange man bad.
Yep.
You look at, Pennsylvania, they had the mail-in voting thing that's been ruled unconstitutional now, but they set that up in 2019.
Yep.
You look at all the garbage that happened during COVID, drop boxes, voting in the park, all that other garbage. Yeah. Don't vote against somebody. Vote for somebody.
And that's the thing. That is my main message as I travel the state. I say, I don't want you to like me. I want you to be able to trust me that I'm going to do the right thing for your children, for you. And if the governor go down, I can still guide the ship the way we need it to be guided. And if I have to pull out of my back pocket the 10th Amendment, I tell Joe Biden and the federal government, kiss my grits. So, we have to have people that especially a lieutenant governor, that's thinking like a leader. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm a leader. And I will compliment whoever the governor is. But I am not going to try to ride on anybody's coattail to get there.
Yeah, for sure.
That one I can't do. Ed, is you froze?
No, I'm reading something here. I got my since I was posting all kinds of stuff for the State of the Union, like my notifications are kind of going off the hook. So I'm like, I was just reading something, and it's like, like I said, I sacrificed myself. I put myself through an hour and 15 minutes of that nonsense, but I brought y'all the best content possible. That's
I just want to know how they managed to get him to speak for an hour and 15 minutes.
Well, and that was the question, right? So I'm over here, is he going to survive 30 minutes before he has mental collapse? 60 minutes, an hour and a half. What's going to happen? Like, how many steroids did they give this man?
Yeah.
What exactly, what did they do to quicken him? Did he find another Highlander out there and take his head and say there going to be only one? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing I do know is that when I look at Joe Biden smiling, he looks like an older, like Dollar Tree version of the Joker without the makeup. Just saying.
Gosh. Yeah, it is pitiable. I mean, on the one hand, he's done this to himself by staying in politics as long as he did. But on the other hand, it's just, you look at him and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just like, he should not be anywhere near the White House ever.
He shouldn't be near like a microphone, a dog, a stairwell.
It feels a bit abusive. What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they let them do their all their standing ovations and clapping every 2 minutes. I mean, it's only like a 20-minute speech. They should just let him get through it, give him his butterscotch pudding, and put him to bed. I mean,
it was awesome. There was some points where he was talking, and he was like, we don't need to defund the police. We need to fund the police. And then, like, you can hear Democrats, like, they were like half clapping, half not unsure what to do. Like, there was some things that were confusing. He's talking about border security. We need to increase border security. Democrats, again, they were like, and I didn't get to watch them, listening to it as I'm doing like several other things. And I can just hear it. And I just, in my mind, I'm seeing the like AOC's looking around like,
this isn't what I signed up for.
do I clap? What do I do?
Yeah.
Come on, what are we doing here?
Well, that's how they're in disarray. They don't know what to do. The message is all off now. Joe's saying fund the police. They're still defund the police. I mean, they're in trouble. But again, it's Republicans will find a way to screw it up. I've said that before, and I'll probably keep saying it.
Yeah.
It's complete
figure a way not
in
to
their
screw it up
ranks.
But I just
yeah.
Okay.
But I will tell you this though. I am in agreement with you, Ryan, that I think Republicans have the potential to screw this up.
Oh yeah.
Because what do Republicans do? You win, you rest on your laurels.
Yep.
And that's been the standard MO for Republicans in office. And like in my particular county, very inactive. Well, we don't really do anything until like the election year. You don't?
Yeah, nice.
Off years are meant to strategize, galvanize, and recruit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing that, then you have a bridge club. That's what you have.
Yeah.
And you're interested in titles.
And I want to say
the thing we do is we don't.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just gonna say the other thing we don't do is when we do come through a primary, we don't exactly what you said, Ed. We don't galvanize, and when we come through the primary, we'll just say, okay, well, my guy didn't win. I'm going to take my ball and go home and sit this one out.
Yep,
exactly.
You know what? We got to circle the wagons, and I mean, I held my nose and voted for McCain. I voted for Romney. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be serious, then we have to be unified once we get out of the primary and move together as one unit, because if we're going to get 50% out of the candidate we didn't vote for, that's fine, because if the Democrat wins, we're going to get 0%.
Right.
Period.
And I will tell you this.
And we got to realize that.
And I will tell you this. And I've said this very publicly. I've said this, and I've been a record of this for a couple of weeks now. If Rantham gets in and Wickman gets the nod for the two top offices, I will be their biggest advocates. I will be their biggest advocate, because clearly I got something wrong.
Yep.
Because anything at this point, a baked potato is better than Tony Evers and his administration. I'll vote for Pikachu.
But like I said in the last
one, though.
Yeah.
One.
Well, and like I said in the last episode that we did, like the problem that we have is, like you said, that we just pick up our ball and go home. When we do that, when our person gets in too, and our job does not end when the voting booth closes. Our job just begins as we the people. Like that's when our job starts, because then we are needed to hound our representatives and make their life a living hell if they continue to go against our values and our principles and what this country stands for. And if they continue to violate the Constitution, we need to be there at their door calling them out every moment that we possibly can.
Yeah. And and I tell you, you win the election, that's awesome. Cool. So that means you got a lame duck until someday in January.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? Once you get yourself inaugurated, once you swear in, cool. I'm not gonna say boo. I want you to enjoy this. I'm gonna give you a honeymoon. But I'm gonna tell you this: first Monday in February, if you're not going to war, we got a problem, and I'm gonna come pick the first fight with you.
Well, I have a problem with that. The honeymoon should be after November until you swore in. The moment you swore in, that's when the war's supposed to start.
No, I want you to enjoy the office, because you know what? Think about this, right? You get sworn in, what is it? In Wisconsin, it's like the first week or two, in January. No. I want you to feel the office. I want you to get the spirit of everybody who had occupied it before you. I want you to read the papers. I want you to tour the Capitol. I want you to enjoy this, because after the first Monday in February, the idea of enjoying that's out the window. You're either going to be my wartime general, or we're going to have a problem.
And it'll be the only week you enjoy in office if you go against what you were elected for.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told you, Ed.
But that's my take.
I told you I'm scared of her. I'm scared. But
she ain't wrong.
She's not wrong. But you guys, we are almost at the 3 hour mark. I can't believe this. Lord Jesus.
That's my fault.
Y'all doing one of Ed's shows now. But
I don't know how I do that, by the way. Some days I have guests on, other days I'll just do 3 hours by myself, and it's like, God, I really do like the sound of my own voice. Well, yes, I do. It's good times.
But and I'm gonna leave mine for last. So y'all know how I do it. Once I pointed on you, you got your 2-minute closing remarks. So I'm just gonna hit you with the thing. So whoever faces up there first, that's who goes for the 2 minutes first.
All right. So here's what I'll say. I closed. We had a pint in politics a couple weeks ago now, or last week, I think it was, and got a little chance to speak, and I'll say this. It'll be the same speech I gave there. The one. We just have to go out and do our part. So we have a choice. We can be the Moses Israelites, where we see, the promised land, and we're told to go in, the battle's already won, and we turn the other way because we're scared. Or we can be like Joshua, and we just march in and take what's ours. It's all in front of us. The battle's won. We have to do our part. We have to go take it. We talked about tonight, right? Be obedient to God. Take his lead. Know and trust that he's already got the battle won for us, but he needs us to take action and do our part. That's where I see we're at tonight. As we're going forward, we definitely have the momentum. We've just got to keep it by doing our part.
We are at a breaking point. The election here in 2022 is ours to lose. And if we decide to screw this up, we're going to miss this red wave. Egos, personality contests, you're not running for high school class president. This is the real deal. It is the difference about whether or not you are going to be the vanguard, the seawall against an overreaching government, or you're not. and we're kind of boned as a state. I don't think we need that. Wisconsin deserves better. Look at every candidate, make a decision, think, listen, talk to other people. But no matter what you do, get yourself out there and vote, and get your friends out there too. David, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good night. God bless. God bless Wisconsin. I'm out.
Yeah.
So it's hard to follow those two. I'm just going to say that our integrity starts in our homes. We need to be the same people that we are in private as we are in public, and vice versa. I want to be the type of person who, when I'm out and about in public and speaking to other people and talking to other people, my family is going to stand behind me and know that I'm the same person there, that they're not looking at me like a hypocrite. We make mistakes, we stumble and fall, and that's a natural part of human nature. But owning up to our mistakes, owning up to our choices, and taking full responsibility for them, that is the first and foremost thing that anybody who's running for office should be unequivocally what's the word I'm looking for? Should never falter on, never waver on. That is their first and foremost, is they're going to be integrity driven in public as well as in private. So, yeah.
Well, I'm to say it this way, we have to stop moving out of emotions and really do our homework diligently on everybody. Moving on the emotions is going to always get us in trouble. Most people are in jail off of their emotions. They acted before they thought, before they even was thinking. So we need to slow down. We need to think. We need to rationalize. We need to do our homework on everybody to make sure that we're getting the right people in office that's going to really represent us. We need to get it to a place where I'm making a decision for my children and my grandchildren's future. We need some people in office that's going to really take the heat, because in change come heat. You got to be able to handle the heat when it comes to change. And so I am just saying to each and every one that the fight is not a solo fight. It's a unity fight. We have to come together and be unified and to fight. The Bible teaches us a house divided cannot stand. And so we need to be saying the same thing, and we need to be doing the same thing in order to be successful. Integrity, do not be deceived on deception, on the lies. Don't look at a picture and just take it at face value. Do the research behind it. Make sure that was legit. Last night was a prime example of deception. You know, somebody crash a party, take pictures, and then all of a sudden go to Facebook and make people think that they are really for you as the people. And then you got some that's doing these straw polls at the caucus. And if we be honest, you can have 200 people at a Lincoln Day dinner, but only 20 people at a caucus. You know, the caucus doesn't have that many people there. So, you know, we really got to not let people deceive us. We need to really do our homework and say, okay, out of that, how many people was there? It could have been 10 people and 10 people there and you won 70% of the vote. Wow. Let's do the poll at the dinner and see how many people you get, you know. So we can't allow people to just lie to us and deceive us on just to get in office. Because if they're going to lie to get in office through election time, what do you think going to happen when they get there? So, you know, we have to really take a look at what's going on, and then we have to look at what's best for our local levels, our city, our county, our state, our school board. In order to put God back in any part of government, you have to put men and women of God in office. So I encourage you guys to look them all up. Even if you're not saved, and you're not serving God, that's okay, because all the founding fathers was not saved, but they understood principles, they understood moral, they understood character. And that's what it's all about. And so we want to know that even if you got saved men and women in office, God will not destroy the nation because of those saved women and men in office. So, you know, and those are the things we got to look at. And so I just want to say to everybody, you know, thank y'all. We survived 3 hours, Lord Jesus.
I'm yawning.
You know, right? Well, so we did it, and we out of here. We want everybody to know we love you guys. We will do a show next week. It'll probably be Wednesday night, our normal time. And the Constitutional Queen will be back with us. Ryan, you are welcome to come back if you want to join us. And we're just gonna have fun talking, but we had to talk about deception tonight. It's very important that we do that. And I'll close it with this. Do your homework. There is no team in the primary. There is no team. If somebody's trying to make a team, they're trying to deceive you, because there is no team in the primary. I am Dr. David D. King. Thank you for watching the Wisconsin Revival Rally Show. And I am your next Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We love you. God bless.